Up watching him in the pregame, the body language, he looks like Baker Mayfield. Lincoln Riley has got to be excited that that flu bug hit him as early as it did and gave him time to recover.
His fans were in full voice. Austin Seibert, the busy kicker for the Sooners. He handles the punting, place kicking, and kickoff duties. Got a very strong leg. Rarely allows a return. Elijah Holyfield is deep for Georgia, along with Mecole Hardman. Here we go, the playoff semifinal, Rose Bowl number 104. Seibert drives it deep, a touchback. And so we'll see Jake Fromm, who showed his poise and his talent as a Little League World Series star back in Williamsport.
12 years old, and one of those guys in a Little League World Series that just did it all. Made plays in the field, was a pitcher, hit home runs, and I think that poise early in his career as an athlete has really carried over throughout his high school career, and now, of course, in the early part of his career in Athens as a true freshman. His first career start in South Bend, night game, prime time under the lights, and of course got a win. And I think from there, this team has really just fed off of his leadership.
The senior Nick Chubb is the tailback to the left of Fromm. They fake it to him, and Fromm throws on the first play, and it's complete. And off and running is Javon Wims, and the talented receiver out near midfield. Here's the Chick-fil-A impact players.
Chick-fil-A impact players, you're going to start with the running game, but as Oklahoma's worried about Nick Chubb, it's Javon Wims, our other impact player. Okoronkwo is going to provide the pass rush, and Kenneth Murray, number 9 in the middle, another true freshman playing, has got to be physical against his run. We talked about Georgia having opportunities to throw with Oklahoma concerned in the run game.
Throwing again on the second play. Ball comes out. It's ruled incomplete. That was in and out of the hands of Wims as Trey Norwood, the true freshman, was defending. Wims, a terrific blocker. He was shut out in the SEC championship game by Auburn in the Bulldogs win, but already on the board with 21 yards, the first catch here.
Everybody, I think, looked at this matchup and thought, boy, the physicality, the running game of Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel against an Oklahoma defense. How are they going to match up with that? And I think Oklahoma got so tired of hearing about it. They're determined to load that line of scrimmage and force Jake Fromm to throw, especially in the early going, which I think Jake Fromm welcomes.
2nd and 10. Chubb's first carry into heavy traffic in the middle. The 225-pounder who's second only to Herschel Walker in terms of career yards in the SEC.
Look at the amount of bodies up into the line of scrimmage. I mean, here's Stephen Parker who ends up making a play. He's a safety. You've got 8, close to 9 guys up at the line of scrimmage. That's what I talked about, is Oklahoma is determined to get extra bodies up there against this running game.
Georgia's been a pretty good third down team. They did struggle in the last game in Atlanta against Auburn. They need 7 here to keep the drive alive. Sonny Michel in the slot. Fromm has time, flips it over the head of the tight end, Charlie Warner. And here comes a punt.
Remember, a lot of pressure, long layoff, teams feeling each other out, a lot of excitement and emotion. That time Jake Fromm, that ball just sailed on him a bit.
Cameron Nizelek, the punter, he's a graduate transfer from Columbia University. Big upgrade in this area. Georgia's punting and kicking not strong a year ago, very strong this season. C.D. Lamb, a true freshman wide receiver, back deep at the Sooners' 10-yard line. Nizelek boots it right up and over the head of Lamb, and it's a touchback. So the Sooner defense gets a stop to open this game, and now the Heisman Trophy winner, Baker Mayfield, and the Sooners will take over for their first possession.
Now Baker Mayfield finally taking the field here after a 30-day layoff. You can see a chance to join Colt McCoy as only the 2nd quarterback. A rival school is leading the nation in completion percentage, 71% coming into tonight. Yards per attempt, almost 12 yards. And the touchdown to interception there at the bottom, 41 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. It tells you the kind of decision-making and the accuracy that Baker has played with this year.
He's seen it all. Can Georgia possibly confuse him today? It's a first down handoff and right into the teeth of that Bulldogs front. Jonathan Ledbetter got there in a hurry.
Well, what a great battle up front. I mentioned Oklahoma's offensive line, all 5 returned from last year. And this will be their most physical challenge that they have faced with Georgia in this front three that they play with, their defensive linemen.
Take it to Anderson. Mayfield rolls out, flips it over the middle, and the catch is made by Dimitri Flowers, the H-back, with first down yardage to the 36. He is a weapon in this offense.
Yeah, he sure is, and that's where they like to get him. We showed that in the open, how he sneaks behind those linebackers off of play action. This is where Baker Mayfield can really crank it up.
If they make a first down, expect tempo. Play action across the middle. Flowers again, rumbling into Georgia territory. And in a place devoted to Flowers, Dimitri making an impact early.
Oklahoma is taking advantage of an aggressive Georgia defense. Coming downhill, great job of being on front of that with the play action pass.
Playing at warp speed. First down, another throw across the middle, and that's Mark Andrews, the tight end, who makes the catch at the 30, but there is a flag down near where the offensive line was blocking.
Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 52, 15-yard penalty, first down.
They get Tyler Clark, the defensive tackle. They'll tack that on to the gain.
They write Oklahoma right now. This is who they are. They're the aggressor. See, it happens right here. Gets his hands up into the face. Samaya pushing him, and officials on top of that call.
So in 4 plays, the Sooners have moved into the red zone where they have been very, very efficient, but the Dogs defense has been stout down here.
This is right here's their target, and they get down in this area.
It's Anderson in the flat, and Rodney Anderson knocked down after a very short gain. All these Sooner backs are very natural, gifted receivers.
Yeah, I think the versatility, the physicality of how they run, but the soft hands out of the backfield. And in Lincoln Riley's system, he demands that from his running backs. It's not just about running the ball. I think Dimitri Flowers is a great example of being so versatile. He can block, he can run, he can catch the ball. Keep in mind, Mark Andrews, again, there at the slot at the bottom, is a dangerous weapon and a tough matchup down in this area.
2nd and 8. Play action, flip to the end zone, touchdown! The Sooners strike quickly. Marquise Hollywood Brown. I think the quarterback looks fully energized and razor sharp. 4 for 4 on an 80-yard touchdown drive.
It's exactly how Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma wanted to start the game. Defense gets Georgia off the field. The Sooners get the ball and go right down the field and put it on the board.
Seibert adds the conversion. Wow, what a start.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication. Watch how he doesn't reroute him to the right. Nobody puts his hands on Brown. Nothing at all to slow him down. The corner, Baker, didn't do anything. Watch how he doesn't get his hands on him. Makes it easy to be able to get behind him. The safety's late in coming over, and Baker puts it right on the money for the touchdown.
And it's hooray for Hollywood as the Sooners strike quickly. Gary Sinise, the parade Grand Marshal, does tremendous charity work for veterans, particularly wounded warriors. The Grand Marshal, this parade watched around the globe. Meanwhile, here in the Rose Bowl game, Oklahoma has scored an opening touchdown for the 8th time this season, moving it right down the field. 6 plays, 80 yards. Mayfield to Brown. How will the Bulldogs and young Jake Fromm answer? Seibert, another deep driving boot out of the end zone. Kirk, today's planning for success brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
Georgia's plan tonight, you got to keep being able to put this Oklahoma defense, keep them honest with Jake Fromm's arm, keep staying balanced. And defensively, they got to get Baker Mayfield into some obvious passing situations. For Oklahoma, it's a balanced attack, as you'll see that play out. So far, they're really throwing the football. And then defensively, which they did a very good job of, matching the physicality at the line of scrimmage against the Georgia running game.
Fromm had a completion, a drop, and an overthrow in his first possession. Chubb on the toss into traffic. They get a good block on the edge, and Chubb churning for a first down, running through tackles out near midfield. Big Isaiah Wynn, the tackle, sprung him.
Boy, what a great block on the outside. Watch that physicality by Miles McKinney right there. Opened up the edge. They want to get the ball on the perimeter. And that was a couple great blocks on the edge there that were able to spring Nick Chubb loose.
25-yard chunk for the senior. A timeless play, the Georgia toss sweep, isn't it? Chubb's got it again, this time flying up with Stephen Parker, the safety, to meet him after a 1-yard gain.
And I don't think Mike Stoops, the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma. I mean, you talked earlier about how this is a team that starts to they find a way to get a chip on their shoulder no matter who they're playing. And I think doing a lot of interviews and being asked a lot about how do you match up with that physicality, I think Mike Stoops has his defense really buying into taking away that running game and trying to match up front.
First carry for Sony Michel, who cuts it back in the clear. Michel barrels down inside the Oklahoma 30, and already this Georgia tandem flexing.
They're doing a good job of these receivers being able to get blocks on the outside. Watch the timing with Michel here. Just finds the crease, and look at downfield blocking there by Godwin. Will not let the young corner Trey Norwood off of him. And this is what I'm talking about with Chubb, more physical, and then you deal with Michel, different change of pace and a much different kind of acceleration.
He's still pretty physical, though, isn't he, Sony? Closing in on 1,000 yards. They fake it to him, and now Fromm, a first down throw. Again, it's high, this time brought in by the tight end Charlie Warner, the sophomore, with his 7th catch of the season. Caleb Kelly tackled him.
Doing a good job of giving him time to throw. I think, again, early down play action pass. Jake Fromm, think about being a young, true freshman quarterback. He's played with tremendous poise all year long. Being a good complement to that running game. Still, I think, settling in here to find his rhythm throwing the ball.
They fake it to Michel. Fromm, look downfield, now checks down, delivers a strike, complete for a first down to Wims inside the 15. So Wims, the senior from Miami, who grew up mainly a basketball player, making a big impact here already.
And another good job of using the play action, getting the linebackers up. And when you get the linebackers up, it makes it easier to be able to throw the ball behind them. You see Beal 14 trying to get back into position. But I'll be honest, I think Fromm was even late, but because the linebackers were up front at the line of scrimmage, he was still able to squeeze it in there.
Fake it to Michel again. Fromm looked over the middle, now dumps it down, caught, touchdown, Michel out of the backfield, and the Dogs answer quickly. Running to set up the pass.
Great job of mixing up the plays on that drive by Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator. You saw some running from Chubb and Michel, and you saw the danger of the play-action pass off of it.
Rodrigo Blankenship, the kicker, awarded a scholarship the day before, kicked the game winner at Notre Dame, on for the conversion. So the Sooners, a 6-play touchdown drive. The Dogs answer with one of their own.
Yeah, the play action. Kenneth Murray right here comes up, gets a little bit lost, and by the time he realizes that he has to account for Sony Michel, it's too late. He slides out of the backfield, does a good job on his play fake. See the late reaction, and again, a great job by Chaney of mixing up the play calling on that drive.
Michel's first touchdown reception of the season, even at 7. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, official sponsor of the Rose Bowl game, committed to honoring limp-worthy athletes who demonstrate hard work on and off the field. Pair of 6-play touchdown drives and 2 13-yard touchdown passes, and we are even. Good start here in Pasadena, the first of 2 playoff semifinal games on New Year's Day. Marcellus Sutton, deep for the Sooners. Blankenship to boot it away with that trademark black eyeglasses. He's worked hard in his distance on kickoffs this season, and that's a touchback. Jake Fromm got his chance, Kirk, when the starter Jacob Eason injured his knee in the third series of the season. You mentioned the Notre Dame game. He handled his business well, and he was just playing too well for Eason to get the job back when he returned from the injury.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about the belief the coaches had in him, and he continued to play well. The team, I think, gelled around him, started to believe that he could make plays, and they became a dangerous team. The one setback at Auburn, then they go to Atlanta a few weeks later and avenge that with a win in the championship.
Baker's numbers are just silly. More than 15,000 total yards coming in between his brief career at Texas Tech and his years in Norman.
What a brilliant career that he's had as the quarterback for the team that he grew up loving and dreaming to play for, the Oklahoma Sooners.
Two-time walk-on to Heisman Trophy winner. 4 for 4 in the Sooners' opening drive. Slinging out of the backfield. And this is the very fleet Marquise Brown around the edge. Picks up about 9, driven out by Dominic Sanders, the veteran safety.
Kind of an extension of their running game. You know, you see a lot of the jet sweep a lot around college football, but with Oklahoma, not only are they going to hand it to him, if you're not going to respect it, and you leave a guy like Brown out in the flat who's got a little bit of space, they're going to flip it out there and pick up 9 yards.
Second and short. Rodney Anderson had to dodge a tackler in the backfield, and those earn first down yardage to the 37.
It really is going to be a good battle up front. I mentioned how I know Oklahoma's played Ohio State in that great defensive line the Buckeyes have. Just the scheme itself. They play 3-4, and those 3 down linemen are stout up front.
3 backs in the backfield, and now Baker with his first downfield shot looped it over the head of his receiver. DeAndre Baker was covering Brown. He is a physical big corner, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's a guy that welcomes the challenge from this offense. See, he does a good job at getting ahead of Brown, respecting his speed, and then he pushes him towards the sideline. He was in phase the entire time. Here's Kirby trying to make sure Baker knows the ball's coming down there to try to help him out, going back to his defensive back days. But good position that time by Baker, no foul.
All SEC defensive back, led the conference in interceptions senior year at Georgia. Second and 10. Baker just turns and looks at Anderson. There was some kind of deception there. Anderson off and running a stiff arm into Georgia territory, and Rodney Anderson rumbles down in the red zone. A huge game with a funky start to it.
Yeah, funky start. Watch the block by the big fella Brown. He takes out one guy, he takes out another guy, and I'll tell you, Rodney Anderson is just slippery. Physical runner at 220 pounds.
He got 45 yards. He's got it again. Makes a cut. Barrels down inside the 10. So Baker turned to his right, but then took the ball in his left hand and just handed it off to the back.
That's exactly right. Just kind of remember, this Georgia defense they're keyed in on 6. Whatever he can do to try to get them off balance.
Playing at warp speed. Anderson again barrels into the end zone. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for OU. This is a defense, Kirk, that allowed an average of 13 a game. OU's got 14 in 2 possessions.
And they've had 2 drives of 6 plays that have resulted in touchdowns. So much for Baker Mayfield in the flu bug.
That 45-yard run by Anderson that set up his touchdown, the longest rushing play the Dogs have allowed this season. This is why the Georgia Defensive Brain Trust and Kirby Smart were so concerned.
Watch the left guard, Chris, Ben Powers. Watch how he comes down, initially down on the nose guard, then climbs up to the All-American Roquan Smith. By getting up to Roquan Smith, you let Rodney Anderson, with his physicality himself to run downhill, he's going to run right through that secondary for a touchdown.
And the head coach and the play caller says, we could not have dreamt up a better start to this Rose Bowl.
When you have a veteran offensive line and a 3-year starting quarterback, watch how Baker Mayfield looks over and tries to get a reaction from his head coach, Lincoln Riley. He gives him the thumbs up, keep it on. And that was that big run by Rodney Anderson. Chris referenced how he kind of looked it off and then picked up over 40 yards. And then this is what you have to do with an All-American middle linebacker. Give him a lot to look at, and it allows the offensive lineman to get up to him before he can attack downhill into your running game.
Smith, the Butkus Award winner, was just eaten up by 310-pound guard Ben Powers that time. A scary good start for this Oklahoma offense. Seibert has been busy already, and for the third time just drives a line drive kick through the end zone. So time for Jake Fromm to answer again. We talked about his poise. I think he loves the outdoors as much as he loves football. He's a big fisherman, hunter, loves to hunt birds, and he posts a lot of this stuff on Instagram. So he shares his love of the outdoors.
Wow, look at the shoulders on that bass. That was a big fish. I would say that the last drive was 3 runs and then 3 passes. First 3 plays were runs, and then it set up their play action. I think the mix is going to be very, very important for Georgia throughout this entire game.
Jim Chaney, the veteran of 32 years coaching, calling the plays for the Bulldogs. He says that his quarterback here, Fromm, more advanced than Drew Brees was at this stage of his Purdue career. Chubb cuts it back in a strong gain. First down yardage across the 35 before Parnell Motley wrestled him down.
See, this is what is really hard when you defend Georgia. All the action is going this way, but watch what happens. Right here, now he's going to cut back. And that's the thing that Georgia's done such a good job of, and it keeps you honest on the backside.
Chubb again, tries the left, and cuts it back. How do you like the matchup of Georgia's offensive line so improved this year against the Sooner front?
Well, I think on paper it's a mismatch. I think Georgia has a group that collectively understands each other, understands this offense, and takes pride in being a kind of that physical offensive line with great backs behind them. And I think Oklahoma today, they're taking this challenge to try to meet them at that line of scrimmage and show they can play with a big guy.
DeAndre Swift, the jet sweep, takes the handoff from the Sooners were ready that time. That was Will Johnson, the safety, who dropped the very swift true freshman.
You know how it is in college football when a group collectively gets doubted. They have a tendency to rise up to the occasion. That night we were in Columbus when they played Ohio State. There was a lot of that doubting of Oklahoma, and defensively they really feed off of that. That's the approach that I think they took for this game. We'll see if it works out for them.
Did pretty well against Auburn, bowl game, Tennessee a couple of games. They love the challenge of a physical SEC offense. Michelle and Swift in the game. Fromm from the pocket has good protection and flips off a completion for a first down into Oklahoma territory to Warner. The young tight end has been busy early.
And it's a first down here, a play that you look at and you think, okay, hey, anybody could have made that throw. But if you're Georgia and you're a Georgia fan, you want to see this offense convert on third down. Big factor today is Georgia converting not only to be able to keep the ball and keep the drives alive, but it keeps Baker Mayfield and that offense that has scored in 2 drives, both times in 6 plays, keeps him on the sideline.
Play action. Fromm again, good protection, flips it off underneath, and it's Charlie Warner again. His uncle Scott, a Hall of Famer for Georgia, a defensive back, and only 6 catches coming in, but already a few today.
I think he's probably athletically one of the more gifted tight ends. I know Nauta gets a lot of recognition, but Warner, for a young guy at 6'5", 250, can do a lot of things. He can block and he can also catch. I thought Jake Fromm, again, play action on 1st and 10, keep those linebackers guessing, run versus pass, catching them out of position and picking up a first down.
And Chaney calling plays that lead to very short, comfortable throws for his quarterback. Checks it down again and dumps it short. And there's a catch made down inside of the 30-yard line.
He is now 4 of 5 on first down throws for 45 yards. I'm telling you, that is going to be a big theme tonight until Oklahoma backs up, until they start to respect his ability to throw. I don't blame Jim Chaney at all. I think that's have more of an advantage throwing on 1st and 10, and you can see all the time he has, than waiting till 3rd down.
It's Tyler Simmons, who wears a couple of different jerseys, wearing 87 that time. They'll come and measure to see if that was first down yardage. Just about a few inches away on 2nd down now. Dogs don't typically get in a lot of shootouts, but this one has developed in the first quarter.
Kirby's
look at him over there. He's sweating it, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's happy that Jake Fromm and the offense have maybe found some answers and they're coming back, but he is still trying to talk to that defense. Guys, first 2 times, okay, this is what they're doing. You got to try to make some adjustments and just settle in. get a stop, get some confidence on that side of the ball.
This Georgia offense looks plenty confident. It's Chubb behind the physical fullback Christian Payne. See if they take a shot, needing just a few inches here on second down. Yep, they misfire. And that'll make it 2nd and 5 now.
Yeah, Baker, the left guard.
Ball start. Offense. Number 65. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
The junior out of Atlanta has improved a lot this year. Plays hard, but a little over-eager that time.
Yeah, Jim Chaney telling us last night, of all of the guys up front, that Baker's probably improved the most. It was one of their bigger question marks when they moved Isaiah Wynn out to left tackle.
Here's Chaney, who also is the quarterback coach. Arkansas, Tennessee, most recently Pittsburgh.
Purdue, as you said earlier, with Drew Brees and Kyle Orton.
Chubb in the ball game. They flip it near side. And this is Terry Godwin who makes his first catch, driven out right at the line of scrimmage by Parnell Motley. Is only 175, but played physical that time.
That's the run-pass option. It's been a bigger part of this offense, and that gives the quarterback a decision to make. If you want to run it, you run it. And if not, if you think you can get the ball to the outside, flip it out there. Goes back to his baseball days, like a sidearm, just a quick pitch out there to try to give you a better chance. But Oklahoma defends it pretty well. Tougher to do RPOs into the boundary where there's not as much room to run.
Dogs need 5 on 3rd down. They're in fringe field goal range for Blankenship at the moment.
Here's the best pass rusher for the Sooners, Okoronkwo.
They haven't pressured Fromm yet. This time he backpedals. They affect the throw. Flips it to Michelle, but the Sooners are all over the running back there. Motley made the tackle short of 1st down yardage.
There, we show you before the snap, Okoronkwo. He actually fights through 2 offensive linemen. Great suddenness. An SEC type of defensive end. He gets through 2 offensive linemen, Cleveland and Andrew Thomas, a true freshman. And he didn't get to him for the sack, but he forces him to have to throw the ball earlier than he wanted to and allows the defense to rally to the ball.
So here comes Rodrigo Blankenship, nickname of Hot Rod since he was a child. This is just a yard short of his career long. This from 48. Drives it, but it drifts and misses wide left. So the Dogs' 8-play, 44-yard drive comes up empty.
He just hooked it. Looked like he hit it clean. See the snap hole? Everything's perfect. End over end. He just pulled it.
Now that's just the 3rd miss of the season from Blankenship. And every time the Sooners defense can get off the field without allowing points, Lincoln Riley feels good because Baker Mayfield and the offense clicking so far.
And the way they're executing, you do not want to get behind and have to play catch up to Baker Mayfield. See how frustrated he is. Need to go back to that false start. 2nd and 1, maybe inches. And they had the false start that set them back after Kendall Baker.
That's a great point. That stopped momentum, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did.
And now Baker back to work. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns. The 1st down throw. Anderson well guarded out of the flat, and he is going to be dropped for a 3-yard loss.
I think the adjustment defensively for Kirby Smart and Mel Tucker, I don't think it's a huge change in your scheme. I think it's about eye discipline, not looking back at Baker Mayfield, doing your job, and then tackling in the open field.
Option pitch, Jeff Badette, a graduate transfer from Kentucky who's very familiar with this Georgia team from his days in Lexington, takes the pitch, and nice game.
Yeah, they keep you guessing. I think that's what makes this offense so versatile. A lot of formations, they're balanced, they run inside, quick throws off those run-pass options. They throw the deep ball, they just spread you all over the place. Makes it very, very difficult to dissect for a defense. So much to see.
Final minute of the 1st quarter, and Georgia finally able to force Oklahoma into its first 3rd down play of the game. Sooners need 3.
Man to man.
Mayfield looks left, delivers a strike, and that's Brown beating man coverage out near midfield. CeeDee Lamb, check at the true freshman with his first catch.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is a guy that I think has a chance to have a big game today. He's a true freshman. put a lot of weight on since he's been at school. Good job with that move to the, sets it up with an outside move, gives him room to go back to the inside against McGee. You know, he had a big game against Oklahoma State, but after that just kind of faded off. Dealt with some injuries, kept battling through and playing, but not as productive. This 30-day layoff has really helped him get in a better position. And again, he's a tough matchup for this Georgia secondary.
He had a separated shoulder, but he's back 100%. End of an electric first quarter at the Rose Bowl. Sooners marching, trying to add to a 7-point lead. Back after these messages. You're watching the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual on ESPN. Set for the second quarter, college football playoff semifinal at the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Let's hear from both sidelines. First to Maria Taylor. Maria, what do you got on the Georgia side?
Chris, right now the concern for the defense is communication, getting the calls in time for everyone to be in position. Defensive line coach Trey Scott says they're killing us on second and medium. We can't even substitute right now, and we can't get in position to strike. Now over to Tom Rinaldi on Oklahoma's sideline.
Maria, we've seen the signature passion and swagger from Baker Mayfield. There has been no reduction. At one point on the sideline, looked over and said, you might want to tell them over there good luck. At another point, he looked at Lee Corso, gave a huge smile. The pretender sign, we know all about it, Chris.
3 more quarters to go, though, Tom. Baker begins the second quarter with play action, and it's Andrews the tight end. A tough matchup for Lorenzo Carter, the linebacker. It's 11 yards and a first down.
And a really good route. All the momentum of that play action, everything moving right. And Andrews himself actually running, moving from the left side of that offensive line to the right with Baker Mayfield, only to put the brakes on and go back the other way. And a very tough play there for Lorenzo Carter to try to stay with him.
Andrews, winner of the John Mackey Award, is the nation's top tight end. 58 catches on the season. Mayfield, 7 for 8 start. 83 yards and a touchdown. Dogs crowd the line. This is Anderson, who breaks free. Rodney Anderson in the clear, headed for the end zone. Yards. You said it, Kirk. This offense about a lot more than number 6.
The balance has been there all year, and Baker Mayfield gets most of the attention. But as I said, when you talked about it throughout this broadcast, it's about being balanced and being able to run the football. Already over 100 yards rushing for this team, and when you can run the ball, it makes the play action and Baker Mayfield go. And he's right. Maybe he is right. You might want to tell them that they need some help because it's tough to defend them when they can run the ball.
Seibert still perfect for PATs. 3 possessions. They've scored 3 times.
Look at these linemen get up to that second level. I mean, you're letting him, and of course a great block by CeeDee Lamb. But when you're letting these linemen, Eric Wren the center, Ben Powers on that left side, Orlando Brown, they're putting a hat on a hat, and there's all that space, and CeeDee Lamb picks up Aaron Davis. There's nobody left.
They've run 17 plays. Sooners have gained 209 yards in a quarter and a minute.
Happy New Year, everyone. Dick Enberg, and I'm privileged to be here. My first Rose Bowl game.
1:38 left. White.
The legend, our friend and colleague Dick Enberg, very much on our minds today. He loved the Rose Bowl as much as anything he was involved in his legendary 6-decade career. He called 9 of these Rose Bowl games for NBC with Merlin Olsen in the 80s. His very favorite one was his very first. USC upset #1 Ohio State. Charles White was the hero that day. Seibert to boot it away again as the Dogs find themselves a couple touchdowns behind. And I know, Kirk, for you, coming of age in the Midwest, watching this game every year, Dick Enberg's calls were important.
When you grow up in the Midwest, the Rose Bowl is iconic. And being of that age, my first memory, I was about 10 years old, of the Rose Bowl was at Rose Bowl. Ohio State and USC, Charles White, Art Schleischer on the other side, and Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. And I watched every single year, every play of the Rose Bowl. And his voice, as much as I love Keith Jackson, Dick Enberg for me is synonymous of this game and in the memories that I have of it.
He felt it as well as anyone, and that came through, that smile in his voice. And as Dick would say, oh my, what a start for the Sooners offense and Baker Mayfield. From Georgia back to work, and Sony Michel breaks free. Michel in the clear, a foot race. What an answer from Georgia. 75 yards. Down early, but still very explosive. You see the electricity that Sony Michel can provide.
Wow. Talking about needing an answer. That's exactly what they got.
Second touchdown for Michel, who caught his first touchdown reception earlier. Longest run of the season for the Dogs. It puts him over 1,000 yards for the season.
Chris, what a mistake here by the freshman Kenneth Murray. He's in the middle. You're going to see motion. Watch his reaction. He takes himself right out of the play. You have a defensive back responding, also the linebacker. There's nobody left. Great job by the right side of that offensive line. Thomas and Cleveland, they collapsed down. But what made it so much easier is that Kenneth Murray saw that jet action. Watch how he reacts to that. Two defenders, a corner, Trey Norwood, the middle linebacker, Kenneth Murray, both go with him. They bust, and by that bust, it creates a huge space. All that was left there was the defensive lineman, who Sony Michel easily shakes, and then a poor angle there by Will Johnson. And there's the speed from Sony Michel.
The old number 91, Dylan Famatu. That was a mismatch in space with Sony.
Yeah.
So Georgia not behind by 2 touchdowns for long. A one-play touchdown drive. And Michel and Chubb, the roommates, best friends, bowling buddies, both making an impact already today.
Well, the last thing you can do against Baker Mayfield when he's off to this kind of start is get too far behind. So that, we were talking at the break, how important it would be for Georgia to answer, only to do it there in just one play.
Blankenship boots it high. But won't let it bounce in the end zone. Well, after this developing classic concludes in Pasadena, it's off to New Orleans. The second college football playoff semifinal. Alabama, the number 4 seed, and the defending champs, top seeds, Clemson, square off in the All-State Sugar Bowl in the Superdome. Your take on that game, Mr. Herbstreit? You're allowed to make a pick on that game.
Yeah, sure. I picked Clemson in a close one. I think Kelly Bryant can make a play or two late in that game with his arm to be able to win that football game. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. How about Georgia? 7 games this year, they didn't allow 116 yards rushing in 7 games. We're just starting the second quarter, and they've already allowed 116 yards against this Oklahoma offense.
And a tremendous balance from the Sooners' attack so far. Only had to convert 1 third down on their 3 touchdown drives. Mayfield looks downfield, now fires over the middle. Andrews, the tight end, goes up and makes a leaping catch into Georgia territory. He was wide open.
Watch the eyes of Baker Mayfield move the linebacker right here. See his eyes looking to the left, moves the linebacker, and then goes right over top of Reggie Carter. I'm telling you, Baker Mayfield is a master of being comfortable in the pocket, moving safeties and linebackers, and then knowing that he's going to come back and make the throw, and he puts it up high where Mark Andrews, the big tight end, can go up and make a play.
Third catch for the leading receiver in this Oklahoma team. 29 yards that time. Left side for Anderson. Some pre-snap action there drew some Georgia eyes.
Chris, this is what we're talking about. Look at the eyes of Baker Mayfield. He's looking left. You're thinking, all right, he's about, and then he even kind of winds up like he's going to make a throw. The entire time, he's trying to create space back over the middle. So that's what Georgia's dealing with, is a confident quarterback, a quarterback in command, and right now has this Georgia defense on its heels in this first half.
And scratching their heads on the Georgia sideline. Dimitri Flowers joining Anderson in the backfield. Now he motions out. And Baker gives it off to Rodney, who bounces it to the edge and is wrestled down physically just inside the 40 by Lorenzo Carter. Here comes a third down play.
Yeah, it's only the second third down of the game for Oklahoma. I mean, they've been moving the ball up and down the field. They're 1 for 1 on third down.
Anderson still down on the field, Kirk, after that tackle from Carter, who's a strong dude, a 240-pounder. Let's take another look at the tackle.
I think it's all the weight that came down on him. It wasn't just Carter. Watch Jonathan Ledbetter, 13. He's a big guy, too, 285 pounds. He comes in there as well. It's a lot of manpower coming down on top of Rodney Anderson.
More than 500 pounds, too.
And they came down with some force.
So as they attend to him on the sidelines, Trey Sermon, the true freshman from Marietta, Georgia, one of 2 guys who played high school football in Georgia on this Oklahoma team. But the obvious concern for one of the early stars of this game and one of the stars for the Sooners all season long. We'll take a timeout. Hug at 10, helping the Dogs defense can hunker down here on third down. 4-year-old traveled out in style on the Trustees charter plane. This is the farthest he's ever been from home, for sure. So Trey Sermon, number 4, is in the game, as is Andrews in the backfield along with Flowers, and Baker Mayfield keeps it. Quarterback keeper around the right end. Terrific design on the play. Easy first down inside the 30.
Diamond formation. You see Flowers and the big tight end Mark Andrews. They're just going to lead their way, try to seal the edge, fake in here, and then you get him to the outside. This defense is so worried about the running backs. Scouting report tells you that Baker Mayfield, even though he's athletic, doesn't run the ball all that much. They save him for key moments just like that on third down.
Play action. Mayfield still got it. Takes a shot over the middle. Jump ball incomplete. Forced it into double coverage. DeAndre Baker was covering Lamb.
I think that's a little mix up there by CeeDee Lamb. The angle that he took on the post, he cut that a little bit short. I think he should have tried to keep it a little skinnier. That's the way Baker Mayfield tried to throw that away from the defender over top of Dominique Sanders. And Lamb was cutting that a little bit more too far across the middle of the field. Needed to try to stay a little straighter upfield.
Just the second incompletion so far for Mayfield.
Dimitri Flowers up to the top on the left there in the slot.
Mayfield looked that way. Now fires in the seam off the hands of the receiver Lamb. That one should have been caught inside the 10.
Now they continue to work the middle of this defense. Lamb, I just talked about how he took a poor angle. Now this time they come right back to him. Very talented, future superstar, a true freshman. The ball is a little bit behind, but still hits both his hands, and a ball that he should be able to catch. Brace himself for the hit and get the first down.
Sooners 2 for 2 on third down. This is the first third and long, though. They need 10. Empty backfield, Sermon. And now they motion Brown. Fake it to him, flip it short. Badette in traffic. It's Lamb. Check it down to the 15-yard line.
They're just one step ahead of Georgia. Roquan Smith comes on the blitz. They bring everybody. They take a chance. And what it does is it allows the offensive lineman, watch this blitz right here, but watch the lineman get downfield. They allow him to come through. Looks like Baker's in trouble. Then he dumps it down, senses it, and then Lamb has a convoy in front of him, and they pick up the first down. Great job by Lincoln Riley on the call.
14 on third and 10. Haven't seen Roquan Smith make a real impact play yet. And they hand it off to Sermon. And that Georgia native squirms for about 3.
A bit of a high snap. Baker Mayfield does a good job of not only being able to get the snap, but getting the hand
You like
off.
this young back, don't you?
Yeah, I think Rodney Anderson's really, really special. But I don't think you lose a lot when Trey Sermon comes into the game. Catches the ball out of the backfield, physical at about 225 pounds.
Anderson, we're told, just had the wind knocked out of him in that big tackle, so we would expect to see him return, but it's still Sermon in the game.
Tough guy.
Sooners back in the red zone one more time. Mayfield across the middle in traffic. This time the catch is made by CeeDee Lamb. They go back to him a third time, and they got a first and goal. Nope. Now they're saying it's incomplete. Did not hold the ball long enough.
Boy, Baker Mayfield, you talk about trying to squeeze it into a tight window, and he keeps going back to number 9. This entire drive, it's been Baker Mayfield looking for CeeDee Lamb. Good effort there. I think Aaron Davis, by not giving up on that play, I think his right hand got in there. And I think he pulled that ball out of there away from Lamb. Great play by Davis, who Mel Tucker calls the most valuable player maybe on this defense because he plays so many spots.
It's a tough series for the freshman wide receiver, and it sets up a 3rd and 7. Mayfield trapped. Sack for the first time. Tyler Clark, the sophomore defensive tackle. 3rd sack of the season.
Well, this whole month, they've talked about not trying to get upfield against the athletic and mobile Baker Mayfield, but collapse the pocket, which means the defensive ends have got to get upfield, and then they need a push from up the middle, and Tyler Clark, the sophomore that time, is able to provide that and comes up with a big sack.
Seibert very reliable inside 40, 11 of 12 this season. This from 38. And no problem for the junior. So Oklahoma kept out of the end zone for the first time, but go back up double digits. The Georgia football team in 1942 left Athens and 4 days later arrived here in Pasadena to play in the Rose Bowl New Year's Day 43, where they shut out the UCLA Bruins. They blocked a punt for a safety, and then Frank Sinkwich scored the only touchdown of the game, the Heisman Trophy winner. They tried to pull the goalpost down. Charlie Trippi was named MVP of the game retroactively. Charlie, we expect watching this Rose Bowl back in the state of Georgia. We send him New Year's Day wishes. Only previous trip for Georgia in the Rose Bowl. That's changed since 1943. A 4-day journey from Georgia on a train, huh?
I love seeing that old footage of these games that have been played here.
The trip home is better after a win.
Yeah.
Just the first kickoff opportunity for Mecole Hardman. Brings it out, slips a tackle, still going. Hardman, a dangerous returner out at the 35. A flag does come down late in the return. You don't want to give him too many chances, and Seibert's been able to knock the first kickoffs through the end zone. That time, number 4 had a chance.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 24. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Let's go back and look at that 3rd down by Georgia's defense. Remember, they're trying to do a better job. Here's Kirby Smart trying to make the check, make sure everybody's on the same page, trying to move Tyreek McGee over to make sure he's got Michael Jones, and then it's just rushing 4. Something very important to remember, they did not blitz there. They rushed 4, got the ends upfield, and then the inside guys, Tyler Clark and Jonathan Ledbetter, did a good job of getting the push.
Smart's defense finally able to get a sack and force a field goal. So Fromm and company back to work down 10 from the 20. They fake it to Chubb, flip it near side here. Catch made by Wims, and he slips free. First down across the 30. Rangy receiver who played his high school football in Jacksonville, making a big impact here already.
178 yards out of 229 so far for Georgia have come on first down. So they're doing a really good job of being aggressive. We talked about how they're going to throw on 1st and 10, kind of break some tendencies. It's really worked out well so far for Jim Chaney.
Chubb, Swift, and Harrion in the game. This is Swift on the end around, a gain of about 3.
And so far, even with that success from throwing the football from Fromm, who is 10 of 12 for 91 yards here so far in this game with a touchdown, Oklahoma's not coming out of that aggressive look. They're still, especially on the earlier downs, still loading up that line of scrimmage, respecting that running game.
Fromm from the pocket, throws far side, and that breaks the string of 9 consecutive completions intended for Riley Ridley. Not a Georgia team, Kirk, that's used to being behind. They've only played 1 close game this season. That was against Notre Dame, so no panic from this group. But there's some urgency when you face an offense as good as Oklahoma's, isn't there?
Well, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, they had some testing games against Auburn, obviously. But this is a team that I think has belief in who they are and the system that they have. But As I talked about with Baker Mayfield, it's like giving somebody a head start in a 100-meter race. You don't want to give them too big of a lead. Right now, they're already up 10.
Sooners don't rush. Only a 3-man rush on 3rd down, and it's incomplete. That was not an accurate throw. It was behind Michel, and it's 4th down.
Well, Michel kind of looked over his shoulder, looking over to look at the defense as he goes on his route here, and you'd see him kind of look over to make sure just to where that defense is. He starts to slide and move to the outside, and he just happened to move at the wrong time, right as Jake Fromm was throwing it, where he was set up to catch that football.
Cameron Nislek on the punt. CeeDee Lamb standing at the Sooners 25. Nislek, who has an econ degree from Columbia, did not pay enough attention to the play clock there. Wound down.
Game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Nislek, who moved to Athens from New York January 2nd, 2017. It's almost a year ago to the day. Said he wanted to continue his punting career. Good choice, Georgia. Ended up in the Rose Bowl here. Sooners peel back to set up a return. Not a very good kick. It's a low one. It'll bounce way in front of Lamb and just stop right there. So Mayfield already white hot to start this game. Gets good field position as the Sooners go back to work up 10. Just a 30-yard punt. And welcome back to the Rose Bowl. Taco Bell student section there. Taco Bell's brought the best of the regular season to the college football playoff by creating the Live Moss student section. Today, picking up the tab for tickets for 500 students from each school at the Rose Bowl game. Presented by Northwestern Mutual, the All-State Sugar Bowl, and again at the National Championship game in Atlanta. So the Sooners back to work here. Chance to stretch the lead, mindful they will get the football to begin the second half, Kirk. So some urgency now for this Georgia defense. This is a big series. Touchdown, 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 and then a field goal for Oklahoma in their 4 possessions. Anderson back in the game, cuts it back. Another strong game, dragging people near midfield.
Think about what must be going through this Georgia defense's mind. I mean, coming into this game, they've only allowed touchdowns on 19 of the 153 drives that they've faced. That's 12%. And already 3 touchdowns in the first 4 drives.
2nd and 3. Mayfield, all kinds of time rolling, trying to create something on the fly. Cannot escape. Knocked down there by David Marshall, the defensive end. 2nd sack for the Dogs.
And that's a big-time play by David Marshall. But I'll tell you, the secondary deserves the assist. This is called plaster. Plaster means you have to stay on your receiver. Look in the background. Look at the receivers. Look at the defense staying with those wide receivers. Good job taking away any options that Baker Mayfield has downfield, and eventually Marshall gets to him.
Baker thought he was going to get away, and Marshall a great job just grabbing him by the shoe. Sets up 3rd and 12.
And Lincoln Riley sees the coverage, makes the check from the sideline, and Baker Mayfield gets the call of the team.
This time all day to throw, delivers over the middle. Catch made by Brown. Doesn't have first down yardage. Spun down at the 49 by J.R. Reed, and it's 4th down. So the Dogs do get a stop on the crucial series.
He has all day to throw this ball. Good job of giving him time. He worked to his 2nd, to his 3rd, to his 4th option until eventually he finds Brown. Give Georgia's defense credit for once again getting Oklahoma off the field.
We finally force a punt. The first by Seibert.
Once again, I mean, keeping him out of the end zone.
Yeah.
The last drive I felt like was a win. They held him to a field goal.
I get your point.
Yeah.
Seibert trying to pin Fromm and the Dogs deep. It's a long boot, just gets up in the jet stream and lands at the 1 and perfectly bounces backwards. You cannot do it better than that. Out at the 2. Skill and maybe a little luck from the punter as well, huh?
Wow. That was beautiful. Not only the location, putting it in that corner, but the ball bounces back to the right. That is exceptional.
AT&T pylon cam gives you a view. The ball bounced at 4 feet from the end zone and then it spun backwards.
How rare is it to see a punter slash kicker being able to do both? You just don't see that anymore.
He takes great pride in doing all three. Kicks off as well. He's punted a lot fewer times than he's kicked off because OU's offense has been so productive. So now Fromm and the Dogs backed up. Chubb lined up 6 yards deep in the end zone. Takes the handoff and a quick burst. Chubb breaks free. Gets the edge. Nick Chubb rumbling. Churning out near midfield. Parnell Motley saved the touchdown. Georgia backed up no more.
Watch Kenneth Murray, the middle linebacker, take a wrong angle. He's going to follow this double team, but the linebacker in the middle takes the wrong angle. He busts a gap, and it allows Nick Chubb to be able to get right through there in a poor angle. Watch, Kenneth Murray takes the wrong angle, and there's another defender, Will Johnson, the safety coming down, takes a bad angle himself, and just like that, they're out of their own shadow, their own end zone.
Pressure and a sack on first down. Not fooled by the play action was the safety, Stephen Parker, who came flying in. That's the Sooners' first sack.
Charlie Warner just didn't see him, the tight end, 89. He's right here, and here's where he's going to sneak in and come in. Watch 89. He's kind of looking around. He's got to be able to kick to the outside along with Sonny Michel. Somebody's got to pick him up. I think Stephen Parker was the most surprised of anybody that he came free and was able to get to Jake Fromm.
We talked about Kenneth Murray, the true freshman who plays fast and plays aggressive, but he's been out of position a couple times. Not just freshman quarterbacks, freshman middle linebackers under the gun today too. Fromm fires downfield. It's one of those back shoulder fades they throw so well, but that time Javon Wins could not beat the coverage of Trey Norwood.
Trey Norwood, very, very fortunate. We keep saying the word true freshman, the two words true freshman, and here's another one. Norwood 13. A little hesitation, a little stop and go by Wims, and you could see the freshman never even knew the football was thrown. He was fortunate with the ball underthrown, the receiver coming back. So a lot of times you'll see pass interference.
Boy, Fromm loves that throw, executes it perfectly, has thrown it thousands of times in his life, and has a real feel for that play with Wims. Probably see that again. 3rd and 17. Good protection. They flip it off short. Michel trying to escape, but he's going to be spun down at midfield, well short of the first down. That time Murray wrapped him up.
Not that Georgia's into moral victories, but considering where they were when they started this drive, they were starting at their own 2-yard line after that punt. You imagine if you have a 3 and out and you have to punt the ball from inside your own 2-yard line or inside your own 5-yard line, you're going to give the ball to Baker Mayfield probably in plus territory. So that big run, if nothing else, flips the field here and puts Oklahoma a little much deeper to start their drive.
Good point. Nice look. We had a 30-yarder the last time. Boots it high, and he'll try to pin Oklahoma back. And the first catch made by Lamb at the 10-yard line. So 3:28 until halftime. Sooners trying to add to the lead.
Well, the leader of this team from Georgia's defense, Roquan Smith, we've just not called his name much at all tonight. You know, it's been a good mix, run and pass. When it's been run, you know, he's been picked up by linemen. When it's been pass, he's been lost in coverage at times. And I think he's the guy that's got to be able to get this defense going. He's got to start making plays. Much like Baker Mayfield provides the spark for Oklahoma, Roquan Smith has been that guy because he's made so many plays in the first Butkus winner that they've had in school history. Off to a little bit of a slow start.
113 tackles. He's a tackling machine. He's got 44 more than the next highest tackler on this defense.
I think he's still trying to feel this offense out and figure it out.
Sermon's in the game, and he's got the football, and he's got a crease. The freshman off and running. Gets a downfield block, barrels ahead. A physical finish to the run, and that fires up the OU sideline.
Well, this is 2 backs in the backfield. Rodney Anderson goes in motion and leaves Sermon back there. Look at the 2 linemen up front. This is the counter play that Oklahoma runs all the time. Ben Powers and Orlando Brown lead him around. They do a good job of getting a hat on a hat, and that's how you finish a run. Sermon, who's from the state of Georgia, runs right through DeAndre Baker.
31-yard gain. Great job spelling Rodney Anderson. He's back in there now to the right. And he's got the football, and he's stopped at the line of scrimmage.
And the last two plays putting, again, a little bit of a change-up, putting both the backs back there together, Anderson and Sermon. And as it may not seem like a big deal, but when you're changing formations, it affects communication for the defense. So for the Roquan Smith and the linebackers. Now you see Sermon check out. You see a wide receiver, Michael Jones, check in. Constantly making this Georgia defense have to communicate and adjust to the looks that Baker Mayfield and the offense is giving them.
Three receivers to the right on 2nd and 9. Mayfield instead looks to the left. And now scrambles across the middle, overshot Lamb, who was running free there. Remember what Kirby Smart told us. He said, look, we're very comfortable and confident that we can control the running game today. But if not, we're in trouble. It all starts with that, and they have not been able to control the running game.
No, not at all. It's been a very balanced attack, 182 yards. Mel Tucker trying to find some answers. To me, it starts with that defensive line and how they can try to win at the line of scrimmage. You got to give Oklahoma a lot of credit. That's a real strength of theirs all year. 5 returning linemen from last year up front. They know each other inside and out to go along with Baker Mayfield as a 3-year starter at quarterback.
Play clock winding down in this 3rd and 9 play. It's a screen. Brown in the clear. The sprinter cuts back. Hollywood Brown slips down inside the 15. They're lucky he didn't find the end zone. That guy's the fastest Sooner.
Yeah, it's kind of a mesh route. Watch the two receivers crossing each other underneath. A great block again by C.D. Lamb to give him more room to run.
Playing fast after the big play. Lamb, after making the block, makes the catch and is bumped out. Marquise Brown, man from Hollywood, Florida, not Hollywood, California. That's how he got the nickname when he got here to Oklahoma. Boy, you see why Georgia's coaches kept saying, number 5 just scares us to death.
Yeah, he can go by you for the deeper throw. He can catch a ball underneath on a 3rd down and make one guy miss and pick up another 30 or 40 yards. Incredible acceleration.
And the Sooners make it a 17-point lead before halftime. 2nd and 4. Anderson slips a tackle, fights through, and is going to be wrestled down right near the marker. They'll spot him just short. It'll be 3rd down.
You gotta love how Baker Mayfield near the end of that. Baker Mayfield at the end of that, trying to, remember a new rule in college football, you can push the ball carrier. Usually you see linemen pushing the ball carrier. Not with Oklahoma. It's Baker Mayfield at the end. It's diving, pushing those big linemen, trying to pick up that 1st down, trying to fight for every inch.
Perhaps the sickness was overplayed a bit this week. He looks pretty healthy. Anderson in the game on 3rd down. It's a sneak, and Mayfield does move the sticks and sets up a 1st and goal as we enter the final minute of the first half. Sooners, Kirk, have moved it 88 yards in 7 plays. Again, they get the ball to start the second half, which makes Georgia here just desperate to keep out of the end zone here.
Remember in the Big 12 championship game, they did a good job of giving that physical look. They're going to go to the jumbo package now with some extra linemen, big fullbacks coming in. They fooled TCU by going to this look and then kind of sneaking Mark Andrews behind a little bit of a play action look. They're going to go with this quick huddle, make it tough on the Georgia defense. They're hiding Brown.
And now Kirby Smart sneaks down the sidelines and spends a timeout on defense. Oklahoma not terribly urgent. They've got all 3 timeouts in 25 seconds before halftime.
That critical 3rd down. Brown's here, he works across, but what I like is the setup of the 2 receivers and how they create kind of a traffic jam. Remember, they're going to just get the ball out quickly, but look at the Georgia defense. They're man-to-man, and Baker can't stay with Brown, and then it's just what he does naturally in the open field. But it was the execution on 3rd down, recognizing that it's man-to-man, getting it to Brown quickly, and his defender, DeAndre Baker, just couldn't get over there because of the mesh route concept, meaning like a rub route or a pick. Great time to call that on a big 3rd down against man-to-man.
remarkable to see Brown in person. He was 145 pounds when he showed up from College of the Canyons, junior college. He bulked all the way up to 170. He said, yeah, that's too heavy. I dropped back to 165. There's not much to catch, though, and tackle, is there?
I was floored to see him in person at practice a couple of days ago, to see how productive and how dominating he can be. Look at his game he had against Oklahoma State in Stillwater. I mean, he's 100. He looks like he's 160, 165 pounds.
Backup quarterback Kyler Murray, number 1, the former starter at A&M, is in the backfield just behind Baker. So do they have some trickery here?
Another
one. Kirby Smart right down there at the 5-yard line says, wait a second. Well, we didn't expect this look. Let's spend another one here.
We keep talking about how big this series is with Oklahoma getting the ball in the second half. Somebody else knows how big this series is, and he's using every timeout that he can to try to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Kyler Murray is a guy that has elite speed as a runner. Obviously can throw the ball very well. So who knows what Lincoln Riley had in mind there. Aerial coverage on this beautiful day provided by Goodyear, official sponsor of the Rose Bowl game, celebrating the determination and grit of today's players, fans, and coaches. That's blimp-worthy.
Kind of like in college basketball, in a critical possession, you see a team come out, the opposing team kind of gets a look, they call a timeout, they go in, and okay, they come back out, they get another look, call a timeout. That's really what we've had here in these first 2 timeouts. Now Georgia has been able to communicate, hey, if they come out in this formation, we're expecting this. Be ready to do this. If the quarterback Murray's back there, hey guys, we're going to expect this. So this time he's not back out there.
Yeah, it's a much more conventional look. Murray not in the game. They got one more timeout to spend on defense if they want to. It's Flowers in the backfield. Penetration, and the Dogs come up with a huge play. It was Tyler Clark who's had a nice first half, and it's now Oklahoma that's going to have to spend a timeout.
Rotating a lot of bodies up there. This is just quickness and slow off the ball by Oklahoma, just shooting a gap here. He has good quickness at 300 pounds, and they're rotating a lot of bodies. I'll tell you, Oklahoma fortunate that the ball didn't come out. Look how quick Clark gets in there.
And that's a different sort of position for Dimitri Flowers. He's played tailback in his career, but not often do you see him lined up in that position. Did well to hold on to it. You're right.
I think earlier in his career he had to start against Iowa State because of some injuries, and he did pretty well, went over 100 yards. But this year he's kind of, he's playing H-back or a tight end, fullback type of thing.
Derby, the head coach, but he's very involved with everything defensive, trying to rally his guys. Ball back on the 6th, 2nd and goal. Sooners still have those 2 timeouts in 20 seconds.
This is what a defensive-minded head coach prides himself on. Critical moment in the game. You practice this over and over, good against good in summer and spring, and now you're out here at the Rose Bowl and in a playoff. You got to be able to hold your own down here.
And Kyler Murray, Kirk, the backup quarterback, in the game again, just the left of Mayfield. Cadet comes in motion. Pop pass. Can he get the edge? No, he is driven back. That's Smith, a high-impact tackle at the 3-yard line. Roquan says, that's the kind of hit I've been waiting all half to make. Well, it's 3rd down.
He took out an entire first half of frustration with this hit right here. They use it as a decoy. Murray and Baker go to the left, but right there, what a hit. Good team pursuit. Smith cleans it up. Perfect form tackle. I'll tell you, Badet lucky to hold on to that football.
And you could hear it. Badet, we mentioned, comes from Kentucky, graduated there, transferred here for 1 season. Knows all about this defense. And the urgency, Kirk, and we knew Georgia had to feel down 10. Mayfield and company getting the ball to start the 3rd quarter. They've made a stand here from 1st and goal at the 2.
Be really surprised if Lincoln Riley doesn't try to find the matchup with either Flowers or Andrews down in this area. They've got Flowers lined up as that tailback spot. And they go with their jumbo package with the extra tight ends and fullbacks.
It's Lamb to the left, single formation, and Jordan Smallwood to the right, also getting man coverage. 3rd and goal. It's a reverse. Lamb throws it. to the quarterback, and Mayfield catches a touchdown pass. And goes sprinting down the field. Trickery from Riley, and the Sooners stretch the lead.
Well, that put the Georgia defense in a bind. They knew that after the sweep and the handoff that the ball's probably going to try to come back to Baker Mayfield, and Roquan Smith actually was out there with him, DeAndre Baker, but at some point you got to go try to tackle Lamb, who's about to run into the end zone.
So a 17-point lead. Lamb back to Mayfield.
Yeah, Lamb's going to come here. Once Baker makes a sweep and he goes out here, watch Roquan Smith. He reads it. He instinctively feels, okay, I got to get out there. I got to get out there. But right here, both these defenders are in trouble. Either make the tackle or stay back. They decide to try to go make the tackle, and there's nobody left for Baker Mayfield.
And CeeDee Lamb sold it well. Didn't flip the ball to his right hand until it was very
I
near
think
the line
right
of
now
scrimmage.
he's thinking, I'm going to run. And then once they commit, then he just said, okay, you're just going to give it to me. I'll take it. He did a really good job of making that defense respect that he's accelerating right there at the 7-yard line. You better come up, otherwise he's just going to walk into the end zone. Really, it was an either-or situation. The Georgia defense just in a real bind there. Look at
Not the prettiest throw, but he'll take it. Lamb has been active. He's been targeted 7 times, had some drops, but he's made 3 catches and now throws his first career touchdown pass. So Lincoln Riley, who does call the plays for this offense, that cat and mouse game, all those timeouts, the different looks from the Sooners, give that one to Riley and the Sooners. Now they just booted along the ground here.
Try to squib it, but
that's
Georgia got a chance here, maybe.
Absolutely ineffective. I don't know what they're thinking there. This is in the pregame warm-up here. A couple of moves from the quarterback. Is he practicing his receiving skills? Wasn't quite the same route.
You know, with him, you just never know. You know if he's just messing around or working on maybe catching a ball later in the game.
Meanwhile, this squib kick has given Georgia a chance now, the Oklahoma end, to throw it in the end zone. Perhaps take one shot down there, and they have a timeout to spare if they want to try to set up a field goal.
Well, if they obviously it'd have to be a really quick throw with 5 seconds to go. Have that one timeout.
They need to try to get about 17 yards to give Blankenship a decent shot.
And Georgia's putting in some of their receivers. Looks like actually Mark Andrews is back. CeeDee Lamb is back. Oklahoma's putting in a lot of their kind of almost like a hands team back deep to try to knock down a Hail Mary.
Fromm rolls out. They do fire it short, and the catch is made. No out of bounds, and now they'll have to try to spend a timeout. Smart sprinting down there. Godwin couldn't get out. 1 second to go.
Yeah, Kirby Smart was calling a timeout while the ball was in the air. I mean, he's yelling timeout, 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 knowing that in case he didn't get out of bounds or pick up a first down to stop the clock, somebody's going to make sure that I want this clock stopped. So that squib kick with 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, that backfired badly. No long field goal attempt. This is just out of Blankenship's range. I check it. He is in the game. They're going to try this from 55.
I asked Kevin Butler, who works with the kickers here, who's obviously a legendary kicker for the Georgia program. I asked him how far he could get out. He said, you know, he made one from 54 going this direction in warm-up, so he's got a shot.
We know Kevin Butler could make it from this distance, but he was a Georgia All-American, Hall of Fame kicker who's a student assistant for the second season working with Blankenship and the kickers. So 55 yards for Hot Rod. This would be a new career long to chip away at the lead before halftime. And now it's Oklahoma that's going to spend a timeout just to make sure that they're ready for a potential fake here. Wow. All the questions coming in. How would this high-powered Oklahoma offense, fast and furious, deal with all the speed of that SEC defense? And Mayfield and the Sooners touchdowns their first 3 possessions. The Dogs defense began to get some traction as the half went on, but that touchdown a moment ago puts Georgia in a 17-point hole.
The last thing you want to do against Baker Mayfield is give them a fast start, because when you play catch-up, not only is it tough to do, it goes against really what your strength is as a team. Georgia wants to control the clock. They want to comfortably run the ball. Jim Chaney telling us, if we could be 60-40 run to pass and kind of who we've been, that's our identity all year, that would be ideal for us. But now, with this hole that they've created for themselves, it's a totally different way of approaching the game as they go into the second half. These 3 points, they're critical. This would be huge going in at halftime for Georgia.
Championship just missed earlier from 48. This by far the longest of his career. Steps into it and drives it. Wow, hot rod. Comes up with 3. That's a Rose Bowl record. And Oklahoma made to pay for that squib kick just before halftime.
Good job by Georgia not throwing the Hail Mary with 5 seconds, trying to pick up the yards to at least give them a shot, and it pays off with a great kick.
What Kevin Butler told you was exactly right. That was about his range.
Yeah.
Hot rod comes through. Cut the lead to 14. Time now for AT&T Field Pass to Tom Rinaldi is with Coach Riley.
Chris, thank you very much. Lincoln, know you're up 14. What was the strategy there on the squib?
Just try not to kick it and hit somebody. He just hit a bad kick. So we wanted to squib it down there, not give him a chance for a return. We just didn't execute very well.
Your message to your team here up as you head into the second half and try to close it out?
It's going to be a 4-quarter game. We knew that coming in. That's what we expected. We did a lot of things good the first half, but we also have a lot of things that we need to do better.
Lincoln, appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Maria.
All right, Kirby, coming into this game, we knew Oklahoma led the nation in total offense. Describe what you've seen from your defense in the first half.
Poor performance on our part as coaches. We didn't have these guys ready to play right now. The good news is we can still make some adjustments, come back, fight. Offense is keeping us in the game. We just got to tackle better, got to stop the run, try to make them one-dimensional.
All right, we know Oklahoma gets the ball coming back out for the second half. What has been the message to the team, and what are you going to echo in the locker room?
Settle down and go play. Our guys playing a little nervous. They got to go out and play and relax and got to get after the quarterback.
All right, thanks for your time.
As Sooners score in 5 of 6 possessions, no turnovers and no penalties. 651 combined yards in a wild first half as the Heisman Trophy winner has Oklahoma up by 14. End of the first half in Pasadena. Back to the studio after these messages. You're watching the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual on ESPN. And welcome back. Set for the second half. The college football playoff semifinal at the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. A dizzying first half of the offenses. 6 touchdowns, a couple of field goals. The Sooners having their way. The Dogs offensively almost on a 600-yard pace, but only ran 28 plays. They were only 1 of 5 on third down, so couldn't extend drives and play keep away from Mayfield.
Yeah, the third downs hurt them, and I think getting behind really affected how Jim Chaney wanted to try to attack. He told us last night, we talked about, what are you going to do? How are you going to try to attack? He said, to be quite honest, how we defend Baker Mayfield will dictate what we're going to do offensively. But I don't think there needs to be erratic changes as they start this second half. Remember, the defense has to come out and try to get a stop. Try to stop the bleeding, so to speak, to be able to get the ball back to Jake Fromm. But I don't think you scrap the playbook and what the plan has been, yet at least at this point, only down 14. That field goal at the end of the half was big for them to cut it to 2 touchdowns.
Now, Kirby Smart's label for his defense's performance in the first half was poor. So no doubt an animated conversation with that group in the locker room here.
But he also looked in the mirror. He really said it was on us, the coaches. He really wasn't pointing the finger at the players. He was talking about how we did a poor job of putting him in position to make plays, so we'll see what his adjustments are. Remember, that's something that he and Nick Saban had a great reputation for when he was in Tuscaloosa, second half adjustments.
Hot Rod Blankenship all pumped up off his career-long 55-yarder, boots it to the goal line, and this is Jeff Badette. And Badette tackled short of the 15. That's a good job by the Dogs coverage team. Now for today's Capital One pivotal performance.
Yeah, the offense got off to a great start. Talked about how you don't get hands on these receivers. They're going to be able to get behind the defensive backs. That time DeAndre Baker did not do a good job of that. The eyes of Baker Mayfield moving the linebacker Reggie Carter out of position. Puts the ball right over top of him up high where Mark Andrews can make a play. And a little trickery here on third down and goal late in the first half. And Baker Mayfield, just like a little kid when he plays college football. It's so much fun to watch.
Who's more exuberant after a touchdown, him or Saquon Barkley? I think it's a tie.
It's a tie, yeah. Yeah, they both love playing the game. It's fun to watch.
Baker's first career touchdown reception.
All right, big possession here.
It's Anderson. Cuts it back. Muscles for about 2.
Of course, there's that counter play to start this first half. They pull the big left guard, Ben Powers, and Orlando Brown, kind of a staple of Lincoln Riley's offense.
Anderson, a couple of touchdowns, almost 9.1 yards per carry in that first half. There's big Orlando Brown, the unanimous All-American, one of 3 unanimous All-Americans on this offense. That is special and rare, folks. Mayfield and Andrews the others. Mayfield rolling out, got some space, but he's chased and knocked out. Reggie Carter, speedy linebacker, ran him down. It'll be 3rd and long.
He was trying to slip his H-back, Dimitri Flowers, out into the flat, but it was great penetration, good speed by Georgia. Remember, Natrez Patrick is out, been suspended for this game, and Reggie Carter, who's played a lot of football as a senior, showing the speed that he has to chase Baker Mayfield out of bounds for a short loss.
Sooners 6 of 8 on 3rd down of the first half. They need 9. CeeDee Lamb getting single coverage to the left of the quarterback. Mayfield's looking to the right, gets it out, and Brown is going to be knocked down just short of the first down. So the Dogs defense gets a crucial stop. Jonathan Ledbetter, the defensive lineman, tracked down the little receiver.
That's exactly what Georgia needed to do. They got him to 3rd down and long. Baker Mayfield has been playing on his terms in his first half. When he has seen 3rd down, many times it's been 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 4. This time 3rd and long, he hits the pass, but the speed of that Georgia defense keeps him short of the first down.
Mecole Hardman is back deep. Out of respect for him, they squib kicked at the end of the first half, but that was poorly executed by Seibert, and it gave Georgia a chance at the field goal. Hardman takes this punt and will sprint to the edge, gets some blocks. Mecole Hardman swerving, curving, and knocked down finally at midfield. He is a dangerous guy. He's speedy and he's shifty, and he makes things happen on the return.
He's one of those guys. He gets the ball in his hands. You just hold your breath.
Dogs take over now at midfield. 21-yard return. And welcome back. First possession of the second half for the Dogs. College Football Playoff National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. Waiting down there on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And the Clemson Tigers brought their version from last year.
That's right.
Second semifinal, of course, to follow the All-State Sugar Bowl. So Georgia has done its job. The defense forces a punt. Punt return by Hardman sets up Fromm and the offense at midfield.
It's an offense that prides itself on running the football and wearing teams down up front in the second half.
This is the 12th running play of this game for the Dogs, but they've had great success. Chubb not down yet. Churning and chugging to the end zone. $50 yards. And the Dogs cut the deficit in half.
This is what makes Nick Chubb special. And it's exactly what Kirby Smart talked to his team at halftime about and why they're not out of this game down 14. Get a stop, get the ball back, put the ball in the end zone, and now you're down 1 score.
The powerful 225-pounder who's been breaking tackles his whole career when he's healthy, and he broke more here.
This is yards after contact. Amarni Bledsoe has him there. Okoronkwo comes over, but Nick Chubb is again a unique back, low center of gravity, great balance, and if you don't wrap him up, you're not going to bring him down. It's not just the physical offensive line. This is what we wanted to see. Could Oklahoma handle this? You're up high against him. You're not wrapping up. He gets off 2 more defenders, breaks 3 tackles, and takes it to the house for a touchdown. And again, just like that, Georgia's right back in the game.
Michelle was active early, and now the Dogs had their second one-play touchdown drive of this ball game. It was Michelle from 75, Chubb from 50.
You're talking about an offense that's averaging almost 12 yards a play. Georgia. So they don't need to change anything other than the defense continue to make plays against Baker Mayfield.
They are in formation on the bench as always. Always Chubb next to Michelle, and they got the young guy DeAndre Swift, the number 7, along for the ride too. That's their normal formation. The roommates and best buddies sit next to each other on the bench every time. Things have changed in Pasadena. 7-point game. Vedettes from the goal line. Good coverage again. He's stopped short of the 20 to Maria.
Well, Chris, if you're wondering why the Georgia Bulldogs look like a completely different team coming out of the locker room, Kirby Smart says that his message was simple. They didn't get our best 30 minutes in the first half, so don't look at the scoreboard. Give them your best 30 and see where the chips fall. He told the offense, don't look to score on every single play. It's okay to play from behind, but remember, true freshman quarterback Jake Fromm has only had to play from behind twice this season. Now over to Tom Rinaldi with an Oklahoma update.
Well, Maria had a chance to speak to defensive coordinator Mike Stoops coming out of the locker room. Obviously, he can't be pleased with how his unit started this half. He said his chief frustration in the first half had to do with mental mistakes. He thought the team was well prepared. They haven't seen things that have surprised them or overwhelmed them. They just needed to be better mentally. Not surprisingly, the last voice in the locker room, Chris, from a player point of view, number 6, the guy that's about to get the ball right now.
Tommy's facing some noise. The Georgia faithful are in that end of the stadium. And there's a first down handoff. This is feeling a little bit like Sanford Stadium at the moment.
I was going to say, this after the stop and then the touchdown and the kickoff coverage, getting them inside the 20. I don't know if you can tell at home, but this stadium has come alive, and you're hearing a lot from the Georgia faithful, and they happen to be right in front of Baker Mayfield right now.
Second down, gets pressure, flips it off near side. Lamb is going to be knocked down short of the marker. Sooners will need 2 on third down.
Decided to bring pressure there. They blitzed the middle linebacker, Reggie Carter. Got after Baker Mayfield. He gets the ball out, but he wanted to hold on to it to give himself a chance to be able to get the ball thrown a little further downfield to pick up the first down.
They'll need 3 yards, and this feels suddenly crucial for Oklahoma to stem the momentum. Look at the wholesale substitutions, fresh, big bodies on the field for Georgia.
And you see the umpire standing over top of the ball because Oklahoma made a substitution. Georgia has plenty of time until the umpire steps out to make that substitution as well.
Anderson in the backfield. Dogs press it up close, and Mayfield, instant pressure. Can he escape? No! Sack back at the 15. Lorenzo Carter and a host of dogs.
They bring it, pressure right here and right here, right up the middle. Roquan Smith, the leader, forces him out of the pocket. Watch Aaron Davis right there, keeps him contained. They wanted to be able to contain the creativity, not let him get to the outside, and Lorenzo Carter there as well to help clean it up.
He scored in 5 of 6 first half possessions. Now a pair of 3 and outs. Momentum has been wrestled away by the Dogs, and Hardman standing at his 40 trying to set up the offense in great field position. Seibert with a high boot. And Hardman lets it bounce. Shouldn't have. That'll cost Georgia about 12 yards. So Roquan Smith, a frustrating first half for the Butkus Award winner, but the Dogs defense rising up, getting after the quarterback. 7-point game as Georgia goes back to work on O. Highest scoring Rose Bowl ever last year, USC and Penn State. Are we headed that direction? Georgia has claimed momentum. Could not have been more perfectly executed, Kirk. Stop, 1-play touchdown drive, the run by Chubb. Another stop, and they get the football back.
Not only the football back, but the momentum as well.
It was a 17-point lead, 6 seconds before halftime. Michelle in the backfield. He's got it. And Okoronkwo got an arm on him at the time, able to bring the running back down after a 2-yard gain.
Mike Stoops, who is upstairs as a defensive coordinator, sure, he and his defensive staff getting on that Oklahoma defense about the importance of tackling doing a better job, cannot allow those yards after contact against two of these more talented backs in the entire country, in Chubb and Michelle.
Both these running backs are be very fresh for the second half. They haven't had huge workload. This is just the fourth carry for Michelle. And that electric touchdown run, also caught a touchdown pass, and now the Dogs will face a 3rd and 4, Kirk.
Yeah, great patience there by Michelle. It looked like when he got that football that Oklahoma had defended it pretty well. A little hesitation move and a jump cut, and he's able to sliver through there and pick up some yards to give him a chance here on 3rd down and much more manageable. Remember, that's been a problem for them in the first half.
Yeah, just 1 of 5. And the Sooners get off the field, stem this momentum. DeAndre Swift is now the back. He's got it on the delay. And Swift runs into a lineman and will be stopped just short. Parnell Motley tackled him, but he ran into Andrew Thomas, the right tackle.
Yeah, he found the hole, but watch the big right tackle, the freshman, who gets out on the edge there. And Swift just trying to find space. He runs in to a 320-pound offensive lineman. Yeah.
They're going to ring across the sticks. Our guess is that this is short.
If it's short, what does Kirby do?
He's going to gambling mood here.
I don't know. You know, is it a given? You punt that away?
He's got a lot of belief in his running game, that's for sure. And he's going to be that much short, about the length of a football.
I think with the momentum, you punt the ball away and you rely on the defense that has had 2 straight chances to get Baker Mayfield off the field. I mean, if you don't make it, sounds great if you make it. You don't make it, you get Baker Mayfield all of a sudden a short field, and all that momentum you'd already just created is out the window. So
do you think he feels differently now, down only 7, than if you were down 17 or 20?
Yeah, I keep going back to the end of the first half, that squib kick that backfired on Oklahoma, where it hit a Georgia player and he recovered it, and they had one play and they ended up hitting that 54-yard field goal at the end of the half. Got him to within just 2 scores.
Yeah, odd decision and poor execution by Seibert. So Nislek back to punt. CeeDee Lamb at his 15. Dogs trying to induce Oklahoma to jump offside. Doesn't work. And now Nislek gets a booming punt away. Lamb let it bounce over his head, and it is going to roll dead down inside the 5. So each team has executed that perfectly. And Georgia's coverage team down there at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, Simmons does a good job of getting downfield. Sometimes you see these gunners get downfield and they're so excited to get on top of the ball, they knock it into the end zone. This time he gets his body between the goal line and the football. And in college football, just keep that ball out of the end zone. It's down inside the 1.
On this beautiful warm evening, aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, official sponsor of the Rose Bowl game, committed to honoring blimp-worthy athletes who demonstrate hard work on and off the field. The San Gabriel Mountains through that golden haze look like an oil painting. It's beautiful.
This never gets old. That view from up here makes this stadium just kind of sit down, and the colors just jump this time of the day off this field, doesn't it?
Mayfield in his end zone and shotgun. And the diamond formation again. A high snap is collected. And muscling ahead for a couple of yards is Anderson. See how adventurous Lincoln Riley as a play caller is down here with 7-point lead.
Well, he has confidence in Baker Mayfield and that veteran offensive line. But you can see how the game started. The 3 touchdowns, the field goal looked like they couldn't be stopped. But since then, the punt, touchdown, and the first 2 possessions to start the second half, 2 3-and-outs for Oklahoma.
Mayfield harassed in the end zone, escapes and scrambles. First time we've really seen that today as the quarterback moves the 6 with his legs.
Yeah, it's a designed quarterback kind of a counter. He follows the right guard and the right tackle around Samia and Evans. And, you know, again, you got to account for him. You know that he doesn't run the ball a ton, but backed up like this, he is still a threat and a weapon. And that time they caught Georgia sleeping and picks up the first down.
You got to trust your blocking to do that from the end zone. A flea flicker. Sermon to Mayfield, who lobs it to Andrews, but over his head. Dogs were not fooled, and coverage was J.R. Reed.
Well, that is great coverage on a big tight end, and Mark Andrews is right here. Watch how he just sneaks back there, trying to catch him, maybe biting up on that flea flicker, but he does a good job of keeping his eyes on the receiver. Andrews tried to sell it like he was just kind of lulling him to sleep, but unable to do that. Pretty good coverage there by J.R. Reed and great awareness.
Both offenses have an affection for the flea flicker. In fact, we might see one from the Dogs today. 2nd and 10. Play action. Mayfield steps up, escapes, a pump fake, but Roquan couldn't get him to the ground. You talked about the strength, Kirk, of Mayfield. He's beefed his body up. Got away for the Butkus winner there, but short gain.
But Roquan Smith, kind of almost like in that spy mode where he drops back, but he knows you got to be ready for the quarterback scrambling and taking off, and he's able to at least slow him down and allow the rest of the white jerseys to get there and keep him well short of that first down.
3rd and 8.
They got a pretty good hit there on Baker Mayfield there at the end of that play.
He's got to hurry. Play clock at 2. You get it off. Handoff on 3rd and long. Anderson in the clear. 1st down and much more. Finally dragged down from behind at the 40. They keep it on the ground 3rd and long and keep the drive alive.
How about the call here on 3rd down? See the right guard, right tackle pulling around. Georgia's expecting Baker Mayfield to be back in that pocket. Nobody there, and Rodney Anderson, one of the more underrated running backs, I think, in the country, just kind of slivers through there and picks up more yards. And remember, they started this drive back at their own 2-yard line, and now they're out to the 40.
25-yard run on 3rd and 8. Only the slip really slowed him down.
I just caught Georgia out of position there.
Mayfield again snaps it at 2. Has time, now running out of time, and he'll be dropped. Good coverage. Jonathan Ledbetter eventually got to the quarterback.
Now this is it. This is exactly what Mel Tucker and Kirby Smart wanted to see. This is how you deal with an athletic quarterback that can scramble and create. Don't let him step up, and don't let him get outside. They're not necessarily in a rush to get upfield to give him lanes to step through. They're just trying to squeeze him, and they've done a very good job of that for the most part tonight.
Got off the block of the Outland finalist Orlando Brown that time. The 4th sack by the Dogs. And 2nd and 18, pressure again. Back-to-back sacks. Tyler Clark has been a beast, and DeAndre Walker came in the blitz.
A little stunt that surprises the right side of this offensive line. You see movement and push from Clark, and then the athletic ability and a hesitation move here to the outside by Walker. You see the right guard, Drew Samia, just caught off guard because of how sudden Tyler Clark got through there. The big defensive tackle had cleared it out for DeAndre Walker, who's had a great second half of the season. He got in there and got to Baker Mayfield.
What's Mayfield have on 3rd and 27? Well, a safe call. Anderson this time is going to be dragged down, and well, you wonder, an unheralded guy like Tyler Clark just stepping up on this enormous stage and making plays for the Dogs defense tonight.
The right side of the offensive line from Oklahoma can't deal with the combination of his power and his quickness. And even when they tried to block with 2, they've not been able to deal with him, and we'll see how that continues to unfold. Both he and Ledbetter, their strength and their quickness have given Oklahoma problems up front.
So the Sooners move backwards after they had gotten the ball out near the 40. And now Seibert to punt. There are a pair of Georgia receivers. And Mecole Hardman will take it with a fair catch at the 29-yard line. So the Dogs defense looking befuddled in the first half, rising up and shutting out Oklahoma so far in the 3rd quarter. Georgia back to work, down by 7. Tom Rinaldi, what's the story on the Sooner sideline?
On that previous offensive series, Chris, Lincoln Riley very upset with what he perceived to be a late hit on Baker Mayfield, take a look here. Rochester comes in. You see the knee and then the full body weight landing on Mayfield's head. Clearly, Rochester was pushed, but you can see Mayfield's reaction there. He's still been himself here on the sideline, but Lincoln Riley giving the officials an earful. Keep an eye here on Baker Mayfield. He clearly was shaken in the first couple of plays that followed after that hit. Chris?
Because he was pushed, it is not a foul, but it was painful. So here goes Fromm. And that Dogs running it back to work from the 29. A first down throw, pressure from the backside to get the ball out quickly. And Terry Godwin, a first down catch to the 40.
Soft coverage brought the blitz from Stephen Parker. Nice job of getting the ball out by Fromm just before Parker could get to him. And look at Godwin, what he's been able to do this year. He doesn't have speed necessarily to go downfield, but he has great quickness, especially when you give him a soft cushion like that. They get him the ball underneath.
A Georgia team that has been dominant, Kirk, in the third quarter all season. 147-27. They've outscored opponents in the third quarter, allowed only 3 third-quarter touchdowns all season long. So this continues a trend. Chubb, for once, is stacked up, dropped for a loss. Emmanuel Beal teaming up with Kenneth Murray. And it's getting chippy down there now.
It sure is. It's a really, really good job by DJ Ward up front, leading the way. That defensive line, that time holding their point. And it allowed Kenneth Murray and the rest of those linebackers to come in and keep Chubb bottled up.
I don't think this Sooner defense liked the hit on their quarterback at all. Playing with some energy now.
Starting to feel like it could be a game of momentum swings here in this second half. And
Fromm back on play action, has time, delivers over the middle, complete. Wims again, a fingertip grab inside the Sooner 45.
He's going to work all the way from the left and come all the way across. When you do that, it requires a lot of protection, a lot of time. They brought the blitz. You can see it was man-to-man, and Trey Norwood's trying to stay with him. 13, the freshman. Good job by Wims to work across the field. And Jake Fromm says that's his guy. I mean, when in doubt, he's going to look throw the ball to number 6.
He's been the top target today with 4 catches. They have a chemistry. Wims again coming to Georgia after a couple stops at different colleges, but clicking with this freshman quarterback over the summer.
Yeah, he's a great target, especially in the red zone at 6'4". Put the ball up in the air to make big plays for this offense.
To Maria on the Dog sideline.
Jake Fromm, when he first got to school in January, the first person he called, guys, was Javon Sims. They have been running routes and practicing together since last January. And Wims said he did not want to show up. It was the one time that he had to himself, but Fromm pushed him into it.
And now Fromm back to pass, surveying the field, lobbing it out of bounds. Well covered there was Wims that time. They were not going to let number 6 drift out of their sight.
He ran the same route, but it was a different coverage. Previous coverage was man-to-man with the freshman Norwood. This time you see Will Johnson there. He came down, was able to help out. But that's exactly who he was looking to throw the ball to.
Now what's the call here, Kirk? Can they convert on third down? It continues to be a problem for the Dogs. Just 1 for 6. They need 7. Final minute of the third quarter.
Don't forget about Michelle out of the backfield as a real weapon, especially on third down.
Fromm directing traffic, running out of time. They just get the play off. Michelle in the clear. Sony Michelle barrels down into the end zone. The hat trick for number 1. "38 yards, and the Dogs down 17 in the final seconds of the first half. A PAT away from tying this game. The Chubb and Michelle tandem going to work.
Jim Chaney made a really good point to us last night. Things that get overlooked at times. This is what the freshman does, Jake Fromm. Look at the right side of the offensive line. There's no one there. Jake Fromm goes away from the left, back to the right, something that often gets overlooked, but just getting out of a bad run play into a good run play. give Jake Fromm a lot of credit for making the check at the line of scrimmage. That's a lot of game prep. This is what's really separated him from Jacob Eason. This awareness and an ability to make a check in a game like this, see the weakness of the defense, get Michel the ball, and he's off to the races.
Off the charts football IQ, just a rare feel, decision making and poise from Fromm, and Michel just tiptoes down the sideline. He's caught a touchdown pass and run for a couple.
Just stayed in and in for the touchdown.
AT&T pylon cam showing you the delicate footwork of Sony Michel.
Oh, that's a great shot. But again, that just, you know, sometimes we look at quarterbacks and we want to see the great passes and so many different things that they do, but a run check, getting out of a bad play and into a good play, so easy to overlook.
Boot by Blankenship is returnable. Vedette hesitating, waiting for some blocks to set up, and is able to scoot out of bounds on the edge, short of the 20-yard line. And we've got a great one brewing here in Clemson and Alabama. The trilogy awaits in the All-State Sugar Bowl directly after this Rose Bowl game. Coverage again on ESPN. Of course, they've split the last two national championship games. Very high scoring, Kirk, each with 10 total touchdowns. You feel like a far fewer points scored tonight.
I think it's going to be a low scoring game, field position game. Who gets the turnover advantage? I think it's, you know, like a 24-20 type of game. I think Clemson is going to win a really close one.
Oklahoma has had the lead since the first quarter when it was 14-7. No longer. And Marquise Brown, the receiver, in the backfield, lined up right behind the quarterback along with Flowers and Anderson. It's a different look. Option look. They get it to Brown on the edge. Dogs able to crowd him to the boundary. Sanders forces him out, short gain.
Really nice job by Dominic Sanders. Incredible. You think about how much football he has played. He's making his 52nd career start tonight. That's a lot of football.
Opponents of Georgia have been game planning against number 24, trying to find a way to keep the safety out of the mix for 4 years. They haven't often succeeded. Sooners, and they squeeze in a play before the end of the quarter.
They're blitzing him again.
Mayfield delivers incomplete across the middle. Tight coverage again by DeAndre Baker. Quarterback knocked down. And that is the end of the third quarter. Quarter dominated by the Dogs. They score a pair of touchdowns to get the Rose Bowl game even at 31. 15 minutes to decide a berth in the national championship game. You're watching the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual on ESPN. Dusk in Pasadena. Welcome back to the College Football Playoff Semifinal at the Rose Bowl game, presented by Northwestern Mutual. Final quarter. It's going to be the Dogs going home to play for a national championship, or the Sooners. Has survived. Just 29 yards of offense for Oklahoma in that third quarter. Georgia had 130. And as the final quarter begins, Baker Mayfield is facing a 3rd and 10 at his own 18.
Rough third quarter for Baker Mayfield. 2 of 4 for 14 yards. Sacked 3 times.
5 sacks by Georgia equals the season high given up by this Sooner offensive line. And Mayfield has time. This time overshoots Andrews, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Dominic Sanders. And the veteran safety scampers down inside the 10. The game's first turnover sets up the Dogs in scoring position.
Well, sometimes when things aren't going well, you have a tendency to force things. Baker Mayfield here, the pressure on the outside there to the right is DeAndre Walker trying to make a play, and the ball sails over Mark Andrews. We just talked about Sanders and what a veteran he is, starting his 52nd game. He's reading the eyes, ball's overthrown. He's in perfect position playing center field. As that ball, it's very rare to see Baker Mayfield miss high. He felt that coverage, forced the issue, put the ball up, and watch Kirby Smart and Mel Tucker. This defense, it's been a totally different story in this second half against Baker Mayfield.
16th interception in the brilliant career of Sanders that ties a Georgia record. Now the Dogs trying to take the lead here from the 4, 1st and goal. Chubb hit by Okoronkwo in the backfield and nothing doing.
That's how you chase that down from the backside. Okoronkwo has such great speed. Run away from you, you collapse down, chase it down. He has that kind of speed where he can have an impact.
Better idea to run at him, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of times it is. I mean, he's kind of one of those tweeners, 240, 245 pounds, known for his pass rushing ability on 3rd downs. But if you run away from him, he does have the speed to be able to chase backs down.
DeAndre Swift to the left of the quarterback. Fromm looking for the end zone. Delivers. Touchdown! Wims gives the Dogs the lead. "24 straight." Check the catch by Wims.
Fromm went right to him. Saw man-to-man, put the ball away from the defender. Look at the hands. Look at the strength to keep that ball away from the ground by Wims against the freshman Norwood. See how that ball is thrown only where the receiver Wims can get his hands on the ball completely away from the defender. Perfectly thrown ball by Jake Fromm.
He's a basketball player that says he treats it like rebounding, boxing out, using that hand strength. Played Pop Warner football, didn't play again till his senior year of high school. Here's Wims in the Rose Bowl. It's all set up by the interception from Dominic Sanders, the overthrow by Mayfield. And the return down inside the 5, and Georgia, after being down 17, has its first lead of this Rose Bowl game. Mayfield's turn to try to answer. He's a true freshman, folks. Jake Fromm to his favorite Tiger, Javon Wynn. And Wims' touchdown gives Georgia its first lead, and the Sooners stunned. But this is not an unusual position, Kirk. This is a team that 3 different weeks in a row, they had a double-digit lead.
Yeah.
Ended up trailing in the 4th quarter. Came back against Baylor, on the road against Kansas State. Came up short at home against Iowa State. But Baker has been here a lot.
Yeah, but this is a different opponent.
True.
With all due respect to Kansas State and Baylor and those teams,
No
it's a
argument.
different deal. And it's a different setting. And you're on one hand, because you've been there and you've been able to produce in those kind of moments, it gives you confidence. But they've got to get back to what was working, and they're losing the line of scrimmage in the second half. That's the difference in this game right now.
Marcellus Sutton is a different kick returner. And let's see if he's going to bring one out. Oh, it's touchback.
You know, he's been in close games all year. And that, like you said, that's when he's delivered and played some of his best football. Look at these 1-score games. Teams that have been within 8 points. Completion percentage, the big plays downfield. You see, he's ranked top in the whole country. So you're right, he's been here and done that. But the offense has to help him. I mean, the 3 sacks, 2 of 4 in the 3rd quarter.
It had a running game today. That was a question. Could they run the ball? They run it for 173 yards. Anderson's got 157 of those.
That's what I'm saying. They've got to get back to being that balanced offense that they were early, instead of just saying it's all about Baker Mayfield and throwing. They're at 17 plays and 29 yards here in the second half.
Lamb in motion. Reverse. Brown. Knocked down. Staying at home was the Butkus winner, Roquan Smith.
Boy, he is so instinctive. So nice to watch him play. He's been a different player himself here in this second half. Look at the instincts in the eyes. He's not fooled at all. Gets in position. Not only that, he's able to get off of a block and still make a tackle out in space.
He got knocked down by Samia and still made the tackle.
Yeah.
Got a chance to meet Dick Butkus, namesake of the award he was given out in California this week. Butkus himself played a big defensive game in a Rose Bowl win for Illinois. Delayed handoff. Anderson cuts it back. Tough yardage to the 30. Smith again on the tackle. 3rd down coming up. Dick Butkus making his way to the practice, and Roquan, big smile there. He knows the history of the man in the middle there.
No doubt about it.
Lucas made an interception for Illinois. A tough hard putt win over Washington in the '64 Rose Bowl.
Another third down for Baker Mayfield. Watch the battle at the line of scrimmage.
And this Sooner offensive line protects. Dogs bring the heat. Mayfield stands in, delivers. A flag comes down. Andrews makes the catch. It's not first down yardage. Malcolm Parrish tackled him.
Yeah, it's a hold by Ben Powers.
You know, this is a penalty they can decline because the Sooners didn't make it.
A lot of different twists and stunts and
Holding.
blitzes.
Offense, number 72. That penalty's declined. Results of the play, 4th down.
Would have been the first flag of the day, but now a punt coming up.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, you don't always have to get the sack. But I just really have found it interesting that teams that have blitzed Baker Mayfield have typically paid for that. Aggressive mentality in this second half, blitzing, twists, stunts, being very, very aggressive and winning the battle up front is the difference from the first half to the second half in execution for Oklahoma.
Seibert, it's a high punt, but not a very good one. And the roll will not help the Sooners cause much. It's down at the 39-yard line. So Georgia will have the football with the lead for the first time. 12-19 to play in Pasadena. Dogs 38-31. Now the grandeur of the Rose Bowl. And if the Dogs can hold this lead, they'll break the record. It'll be the largest comeback in Rose Bowl game history, surpassing what USC did against Penn State in the highest scoring Rose Bowl ever. We enjoyed calling that one last year. So now Fromm and the Dogs in the I formation. Chubb is the tailback, and it's incumbent on this Sooner defense to make a stand, get their offense the football back. Chubb hesitates, stacked up after a 2-yard gain.
We were talking a break. Just cannot say enough about how impressed I am with Jake Fromm. I know he's only thrown for 144 yards, but a couple touchdowns, hasn't turned the ball over, making the right checks at the line of scrimmage, not making mistakes. Just as much as we talk about Baker, cannot say enough about a true freshman in this environment and the way he is executing, how efficient he has played up to this point.
Yeah, well said. Not asked to do as much as Mayfield is for his offense, but you can't ask more of a freshman today. Now a short throw, and that's been his main target. It's Javon Wims who high points the ball in front of Norwood. Sets up a third down and medium here. They need 4.
You know, those are those run pass options where if he feels that he's got enough of a cushion where he can get the ball thrown to the outside, then he's going to take it. You know, better than trying to run up the middle. You try to get 4 or 5 yards at the very least to the outside to his go-to man at 6'4".
Now Michelle is in the game, as well as DeAndre Swift. A 4-receiver look, and the Dogs keep chewing on this clock.
Remember I talked about the command, how he's making sure everybody's on the same page.
Swift goes in motion. Sooners bring pressure, and they knock the quarterback down. Ball comes out. It's rolling around, and Oklahoma grabs it on the sidelines. No signal of incomplete that I've seen yet. Now they're going to say the arm was coming forward, and this ACC crew is going to confer.
He almost flipped it like a pitch, but I think it's intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. Number 11 against the offense. Penalty has lost it down. 4th down.
They brought the heat, and they induced the penalty there. Dave Kataya, rules expert in the booth there.
First thing we need to look at is the arm going forward on the release. Does he have control of the ball? To me, he does. He flings it. He's inside the pocket. There's no receivers there. No question. Good call.
Dave, that would have been one. Even if he got outside of the pocket, he still would have been called for intentional grounding with the ball not even making it to the line of scrimmage.
Exactly. There's 2 reasons. If you get outside the pocket, you have to reach the line of scrimmage as well, in or out of bounds.
So Okoronkwo makes an impact play. That was an interesting decision. You praised the poise of Fromm. He chose to just kind of fling it.
Pass.
So Oklahoma's defense does its job. Good look at this play. They're reviewing this. Steve McBride in the replay booth.
It's just a pitch, but the arm is coming forward. I mean, it's an attempted pass, but of course it's intentional grounding.
It doesn't matter how you throw it, whether it's overhand, underhand. It's like a shovel pass.
Right.
It's a pass.
There was real hesitation from the crew. I don't think they knew what they were looking at right away. There wasn't a single of incompletion.
Look at the blitz from the middle of Kenneth Murray. I showed you Okoronkwo and where he's coming off the edge. It's a good matchup there at the bottom. He actually gets pressure, but nobody picks up Kenneth Murray up the middle. Mike Stoops dialing up pressure on third down at the right time, and Murray comes free to cause that havoc in the backfield. We just talked, the way this game feels, Oklahoma's defense is going to have to make a play to try to change this momentum, and maybe this is the play that could help Baker Mayfield and the offense get going. Because it's been a one-sided second half favoring Georgia.
Everything Lincoln Riley called worked in the first half. Mayfield executing, they're running the ball well. Nothing really has worked since halftime.
No.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. However, the foul took place at the 34-yard line. The ball be placed there. Fourth down.
So they're going to move the ball back to 34. That was the subject of the review there. Fromm, as he does, just kind of shaking his head and smiling. You wouldn't know that he was rattled or unnerved by what just happened there. And Baker poised in the starting blocks.
It's going through his mind right now. Yeah, he's known for that fire and that energy. He's got to be frustrated with the way turned the ball over last time they had the ball, forced that throw, or 2 times ago.
Naslik gets a good punt away. Good punt. Drives Lamb back inside the 10. C.D. Lamb cannot get the edge. A terrific punt. Even better coverage by the Dogs. Sanders and Elijah Holyfield, the running back, Evander's son, flying downfield. So Georgia's special team showing up in a big way, and Mayfield a long way from the end zone. Warming up in New Orleans, the man who took the baton this season from Deshaun Watson and the defending champs, quarterback by Kelly Bryant. Kelly B, as he is known, getting set for Alabama. We are done here. Had a Clemson fan visiting with some of the Georgia and Oklahoma faithful.
Showed up at the wrong stadium.
So Baker backed up, just 4 of 7, an interception and 19 yards in the second half. Anderson and Sermon in the backfield. Now Sermon motions out, and it's Anderson testing the left side, breaking free. He is tough to tackle, and he's got first down yardage.
He is incredibly physical. You see the first half, second half of Baker Mayfield. First half, he's 200 yards. There's 31 points on the board. Things are looking good. This second half has been a struggle. Sacked 3 times, unable to really get anything going at all.
Still got the ball, flips it off, and it's dropped in the flat. Field position is certainly part of that. The average field position, Kirk, in their 6 possessions, their own 15.
I think schematically the only thing that I've really seen change is a willingness of Mel Tucker and Kirby Smart to be even more aggressive. But I really, when you go back and look at this film, I think you're going to see a difference at the line of scrimmage between what Georgia did in the first half to what they did in the second half. Much more physical and aggressive, kind of wearing down the Sooners at the line of scrimmage. Not seen Mark Andrews make very many big plays tonight.
Mayfield takes a downfield shot. Deep ball. Catch made by C.D. Lamb. They got single coverage, and they pitched it down there. He beat Tyreek McGee.
A slant and go. Lamb at 6'1", goes up and over McGee at 5'10". He had a little bit of trouble holding on to the ball in the first half. That time goes up and makes an acrobatic catch for a big play for the Sooners.
At 36 yards, is that the play that can spark this offense? And now pump fake, and Mayfield takes off into the secondary, weaving down into the red zone.
Same play they called earlier back up near their own end zone, where it's a quarterback design counter. Instead of running Anderson, they use him as a decoy to go out to the right, and Baker himself follows the right guard and the right tackle around the left side.
Wow, things can change fast. They get 48 yards in those 2 plays, and now Anderson plows to the 12.
Well, this is who Oklahoma is. Just as things seem dire, and what are they going to do? You have to think, you have to realize in the blink of an eye, Baker Mayfield has the ability with these receivers to make a big play. And then it's the tempo, and all of a sudden you get that aggressive Georgia defense a little bit slowed down, a little bit more on their heels, not quite as aggressive.
They bring Flowers and Vidette into the game. Dogs bring some subs in as well. Mayfield from the pocket, still got it. Flips it to the end zone. Touchdown, Dimitri Flowers. How could a man named Flowers not make an impact in the Rose Bowl? And the Sooners a PAT away from tying this up again. This is fun, folks.
What a game.
What a drive. Stacked up 88 yards in 6 plays.
Under 2 minutes.
He doesn't make a whole lot of catches, but he makes high impact catches.
Chris, they used a motion from Vidette to affect the eyes of the defense. You'll see him cross, but they want to get the ball to Flowers sneaking behind the linebackers, but watch the Georgia defense. Watch how they stick with it and take it away. See how that's taken away? But this is where Baker Mayfield is so dangerous. He takes away the intended receiver instead of giving up on the play, buys a little bit of time. How about Dimitri Flowers himself realizing that Baker Mayfield is going to make a play, gets away from Roquan Smith, and eventually gets away and gets the touchdown for Oklahoma to tie this game up.
A playmaker on that drive, Kirk, and then a motivator. This is Mayfield of the Sooners defense, demanding that they step up again.
This is Baker Mayfield. A crucial point. They just tie the game up. Look at him turn to Okoronkwo, the leader of the defense. He gives him a little bit of attention as well to let him know that this is a pivotal point in the game. This is what we always talk about with Baker Mayfield. He doesn't just execute, he affects the energy of his entire team.
Tied in the playoff semifinal at the Rose Bowl, 8:47 to play. Seibert. Deep, and Hardman thought about it, but he'll keep it there. The CeeDee Lamb big play that got the drive going.
Yeah, big 36-yard gain here downfield, goes up, makes a circus catch. Pretty good coverage there by McGee, and that got the tempo started. A nice run here on the quarterback counter where he follows the right tackle and the right guard Bobby Evans and Drew Samia gets down inside the red zone, and they're not slowing down. This is a great play, nice design. You can see he's trying to get the ball to the tight end or the H back there, Flowers. Scrambles, creates, buys time, and allows Flowers to get free from Roquan Smith. And there's the look of a very determined quarterback. It's going to be a great finish here, the last 8:47.
Michelle, that's it back. Talking about a Georgia team that's averaged 13 yards per running play. So you know what they'd love to do here. Jim Chaney. Feed Michelle, feed Chubb, shoot clock, set up a game-winning score.
Yeah, well, when you're running the ball as well as this offense has, that's a great plan. Remember, other than going to Auburn, almost every other game they have played, they have worn teams down in the second half with this philosophy and this system that they use.
Play action. Rom throws it along the sidelines. He loves that route. Throws it so well. Hardman makes the catch. First down.
Got the ball off right before Bledsoe got in. It's the football out there. Good job of just being able to just slide and slow himself down. Heck of an effort, actually, by Hardman, the sophomore, to hold on to that football. Looks like they're going to take a peek at it.
Ruling on the field. It's a completed catch. That play is under further review.
You want to be sure. That looked like a terrific call by this ACC crew.
Yeah. I was impressed by the effort here by Hardman, just the awareness of knowing where he is to be out of bounds. Gets the right foot down, slows his body down instead of continuing to go out of bounds. Right there's the catch. Now it's about, does he hold on to the football through the entire process of the catch?
Let's bring Dave Kataya in, his take on this replay.
Okay, take a look at this right now. You find the feet first, then find the ball. He has control of the ball. You can see that back foot dragging as well as the knee down. This is a catch to me. Look at the feet and the ball.
Davey, he does a good job of holding on
After
to the
further
ball
review,
as well.
the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
Exactly.
You're right, Kirk. Terrific body control by Hardman, and Chaney just has a way of calling routes that Fromm feels so comfortable with in these pressure situations.
Yep. Yeah, and we've seen all year him feel very comfortable on that out cut, the high-low on a corner. That time it was man-to-man, and he has been spreading the ball around here in this second half, not just to Wims. He's been getting the ball out to some of the other receivers.
Dogs have not had much of the football, but they've been electric when they've had it. Chubb. That time stacked up. It's only a yard and a half. Marquise Overton, the end, got him.
Oklahoma's defense in the Big 12, they have built their defense to defend spread teams. It's not just, hey, the Big 12, how are they going to hold up physically against an SEC offense? It's what they're built for, is they see teams that are in a shotgun 4-wide receiver offense almost every play, and they're used to playing on the perimeter. This is a downhill game. Very different for Mike Stoops and this defense to try to defend this style.
And this is not a defense, Kirk, let's face it, overloaded with the elite talent we've seen in the past from Oklahoma's defenses. Around the end, Michelle strung out and Hithard loses the ball. It's out. The Sooners have it. Stephen Parker, a scoop and score. Could Oklahoma's defense step up and make big plays when they were down by a touchdown? The answer is yes, as the veteran leader of that secondary, Parker, makes an enormous play.
Well, Trey Norwood, in my opinion, makes the play. He'll come out of the picture on the left. He gets underneath Wims and forces Michelle to have to go outside. Kelly, of course, makes the hit. How about Parker trying to keep his feet in bounds to be able to take the ball all the way to the end zone? They're going to have to take a look to make sure his feet stayed in.
Kelly again forcing the fumble, and Michelle, who's had a monster game, found the end zone 3 times, makes a crucial mistake. Tremendous body control right there. That's the step they'll look at right there.
The left foot, the initial step, not this one. This one coming up right there. He's in. He's in. Yeah, he's in.
A 46-yard fumble return by Stephen Parker. This is a defense that has not produced plays like that all year. But in a tie game, in a playoff semifinal, in the Rose Bowl, against a Georgia defense that has pushed him around the entire second half, Kelly and Parker combine on a monster play, and it stands.
And I had a chance to talk with Stephen Parker and just really impressed with him as a young man and a leader of this defense.
Field is confirmed. Touchdown.
How fitting for him to be able to make a play like this. Kelly, also a guy that's been instrumental for this defense at times, a 5-star recruit out of Fresno. But I'll tell you, we're going to go back and look at eventually Trey Norwood, a true freshman corner, took a calculated risk by going underneath the potential block of Javon Wims, and he got enough on Michelle to force him to slow down and to go outside, where Kelly eventually got him.
Yeah, the receiver Wims unable to make the tackle.
Kelly fired up, excited. I want you to watch this. Typically a corner will stay outside. This is a risk where he shoots underneath of this block right here. That, to me, is the key. Watch Norwood accelerate right there. He gets underneath, gets an arm on Michelle. Now Michelle has to kind of restart himself, and the rest of the defense has time to come over. Kelly knocks him down, but I love this play by Norwood. A true freshman rolls the dice. If he goes in there and misses, it's a different play, but he forces him after he makes contact to go outside. Kelly undercuts him, the ball comes out, and the rest is history.
2 touchdowns in less than 2 minutes for the Sooners. Are you not entertained on New Year's Day in Pasadena? And how about the Georgia team now, Kirk? They were down 17, 24 straight. They had the lead. Then the Sooners tie it, but still they're churning away. They think they're driving for a game-winning score. All of a sudden, Fromm gets the ball back down by 7.
And now he's going to get another chance now, like you say, to just try to tie this up. Remember we showed after Baker Mayfield and the offense tied the game at 38. Baker Mayfield going down there and imploring the defense, guys, this is a pivotal point. Talking to him, telling him we got a chance. Defense delivered for their leader, Baker Mayfield.
Hardman will bring it out from a yard deep. He's dangerous. Nicole Hardman knocked out of bounds. You know, you feel for Sonny Michel, hadn't lost a fumble in a running play since his freshman season. And the seniors having a monster game. Ian Chubb coming back for this year to put Georgia in this position. Now he has to personally regroup as he goes back out there.
There is a long way to go in this football game. 6:46, but we are not done. Jake Fromm in Georgia, they have everything that they need to be able to go down and put a touchdown up on the board. Let's see how you got to get that first down, especially after a big turnover like that, just to settle down and get back to the execution of what we've seen from this offense most of this game.
It's Chubb and that tailback. Fromm making those adjustments, play clock winding down. Chubb hit behind the line, and the Sooners are flying downhill now. It was Okoronkwo again.
Okoronkwo. He's right here. He's just going to shoot underneath Andrew Thomas, the right tackle. Thomas, instead of stepping with his left to get down in that gap, steps with his right and gives Okoronkwo just enough room to shoot through the gap.
2nd and 10, another test for the true freshman. Michel's back in the game. They fake it to him. Fromm has time to scramble, doesn't run often, and he'll be hit at the 29-yard line. 3rd down and about 5 coming up.
Talk about a game of momentum. Oh my gosh.
Remember that Georgia's only been in that one close game. It was a hard-fought road win at Notre Dame. Drove down, kicked a game-winning field goal in the final 3.5 minutes. Oklahoma's been in a lot of close games.
Yes.
3rd and 5. Sooners only rush 3, so Fromm's got time. Delivers low. Incomplete. Tried to squeeze it in, but the ball hit the ground. Looking for Godwin. 4th down.
No, he had him if he threw it on time. He's a little bit late, which allows right there Norwood to, I think, influence his throw. See how he's kind of dipping down? Norwood coming in to help defend on that play on the front side, I think affected Jake Fromm feeling confident in turning loose and throwing that football.
I think 3rd and 5, down 7 in the Rose Bowl affected that throw too, don't you? Nice-lick to punt. Dogs going to get the football back now. 5:22 to play. It's a low kick. Lamb is not going to risk even fielding it, and he lets it roll out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Well, Clemson and Alabama thrilled us the last couple of years in championship games. In this semifinal to follow with the All-State Sugar Bowl, they got a pretty tough act to follow. Alabama graduate on the left there.
Yeah, you guys are very familiar with each other.
Yeah,
can't believe they don't have
won a championship for Alabama in that building back in '92 season.
Can't get the game on the big board there.
Those guys are too focused on their own.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the crowd.
Oh.
I'd want to watch this game if I were sitting there.
They usually do that for the second semifinal.
Heck yeah.
All right, so the Sooners off the defensive score that's given them a 7-point lead. Now trying to protect the ball. Perhaps get a score and put this away.
Oklahoma's defense has made a play. Now see if Georgia can.
Anderson. They have not really contained the running back all day. He fights for extra yardage again.
They just keep running that counter play over and over. And it's the first thing that Mel Tucker brought up to us is how do you defend the counter? Because you know it's going to come over and over and over. Rodney Anderson's been running where they pull the backside guard and tackle. They've run a lot actually with Baker Mayfield. Gives them extra blockers on one side. And they're just trying to eat up as much clock as they possibly can.
He's gone well over 1,000 yards on the season, Anderson. Averaging 8.4 yards per carry today. $184. Diamond formation again. Mayfield still got the ball, trying to get the edge, turns the corner, but tackled by Lorenzo Carter at the 30. Third down coming up.
Yeah, good coverage by Reggie Carter to take away Mark Andrews and force Baker Mayfield to have to run it. And the speed of Lorenzo Carter is able to get him before he turns that corner. Big play here for both these teams. You get a first down, you're talking about making them use timeouts, working the clock, and if you get a stop, you're in business if you're Georgia.
What does Lincoln Riley, with all those options, all those weapons, what does he dial up on a crucial 3rd and 3? Option, Anderson, trapped. And this time he cannot escape the clutches of DeAndre Walker and Tyler Clark. It's 4th down.
Against man-to-man, it's a good call, but it's bad execution. Watch the pitch relationship between the quarterback and the running back. See how they get how close they are right here? You'd prefer to have your back out here, so when you pitch it, you can get to the corner. Anderson is so close to Baker Mayfield that there's no separation. So that you saw the defense able to defend both Baker Mayfield and then go out and take Rodney Anderson. Made it pretty easy there for DeAndre Walker. And even a big fella, Tyler Clark, got involved in it.
So the Dogs defense does its job. They get a 3 and out. Oklahoma able to spend just a minute 41 of the clock, and Kirby Smart spending the first of his timeouts here to prevent Riley from getting away more of it on the punt here.
Gives you a couple timeouts. See what happens on this punt, where the ball ends up being to start the possession. But you know, this is what you work on all year.
Now, there's so many factors and elements in this game, but you have to love the point counterpoint. The contrast to this man, the most decorated player in the sport this season, who's done it all, seen it all, and the young freshman Jake Fromm in his 14th game, trying to answer the Maestro Mayfield with a game-tying drive now. Kickoff, by the way, in the Sugar Bowl will be at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock Eastern time over on ESPN2 if this one is not over yet. Seibert has gotten a workout today, kicking off and punting. Does not produce a good punt at all. Again, it bounces backwards, and it's a struggle. You wonder if the wear and tear of doing all those 3 things, and a lot of them today, have told Kirk on the punt. That's just 29 yards. Not at all what they needed.
Not at all. It's great for Georgia. They get outstanding field position here for Fromm and the offense with 3:22 to go. Think about being a true freshman, guys. I mean, think about being a young guy as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old. He's a baller. He plays baseball, football. He's been in competition his whole life. He's thought about an opportunity like this, I'm sure, every single night of his life. And now it's a reality. He's out at the Rose Bowl, down 7 with 3:22 to go, trying to tie it up.
Warner Robins, Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta. Houston County High School. That's where he was a year ago. Michelle, who's had the big night, but had the big fumble, squirts forward for 4.
You know, Jim Chaney is a veteran. He's been around for a long time as a play caller. No panic at all. No reason to panic for Coach Chaney in this offense. Continue to try to execute. Mixing in the run with a pass. It's about execution now.
Sooners bring pressure. Fromm gets it out. Has a man. Godwin escapes and is wrestled down at the 40. So the young quarterback beat the blitz that time.
Yep, you're right, Chris. Blitz came. He sensed it, knew that he had to get the ball out of his hands. Interesting that Oklahoma, with the blitz, still played very soft with Motley, the corner. Made it much easier for Fromm to get the ball out to Godwin with soft coverage up top. Remember, they brag about his awareness and ability to see coverage and understand defense.
Good protection. Now it breaks down. Fromm has to scramble. Flips it off short. Michelle in space. Makes a man miss and is spun down inside the 25 by Will Johnson. First down, Georgia.
How about this look right here? I thought DJ Ward had it. It wasn't a blitz. They rushed 4, but watch Ward get into him. Right there, he's got him. It looks like, you know, just when you think Fromm's going to take off, there's that awareness we talked about, being able to get it down to Michelle, and the offensive line Very smart not to go downfield there, to have an illegal man downfield.
How can a guy this inexperienced be seeing the game so well at this moment? Remarkable. Chubb in the game now.
Here they come.
Fromm steps up, bumps into a blocker, and will be tackled right at the line of scrimmage. Clock running now.
You know, you got to always remember the timeouts, and Kirby will help him with the timeouts. But there's no reason to have to be in hyper speed mode. Just be able to look at the defense, get your formation, get everything set. Again, comes down to the execution. Oklahoma's been dialing up pressure and blitzing.
Hardman in motion. Play action. Fromm has time. Now flips it into the bench. I agree. No reason to play in hyper speed as long as you reach the end zone. But the way they've managed this drive, this is it. This is the possession for Georgia. It's all or nothing right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kirby Smart kind of knew that when he got the ball here to start this drive. With only 2 timeouts left, this is it. This is the last drive. You got 3rd and 10, which means you don't have to get 10 here. Clearly, it's 4-down territory with the game on the line here. Typically, his go-to target is Wims, who's down at the bottom of the screen. Number 6.
Hardman in the slot. Michelle in the backfield. Sooners showed some pressure, but back off. Fromm steps up, delivers a strike across the middle. Catch made by Godwin. Knocked down inside the 10. 1st and goal.
Great job by Jim Chaney attacking the middle of the Oklahoma defense. It opens up, and Fromm puts the ball right on the money.
Cool delivery. 16 yards on 3rd and 10. Now thrown for the end zone, and a flag comes in. Wims was just grabbed by the freshman Trey Norwood.
He got a hold of his jersey and pulled him down.
Pass interference, defense, number 13. Ball replaced the 2-yard line. 1st down.
Pretty easy call.
A lot of contact. Ball is catchable. You could, if you see from the other side, his left hand got in there. See a grabbing of the jersey. Ball is in the air.
That's such a tough play to stop. They've executed it so well all year. So 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. And the Dogs shift around.
Overset to the left.
Chubb, it's the wild dog and the running back. Direct snap, cuts back and scores. Now the poor punt set it up, but the Dogs take it 59 yards in 7 plays.
My initial thought as he crossed that end zone, did they score too fast with 55 seconds and 3 timeouts? See if they hit the extra point to tie it.
Yeah, Hot Rod Blankenship in the spotlight right now. Nice lick. The punter is also the holder. Trent Fricks, the snapper. Little hesitation there. Had a double clutch, but he knocks it through. 45, 45, 55 seconds left.
He actually started, and then he stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was anxious to kick it. Watch him hit.
Fortunately, it was only a PAT.
He's just anxious to tie that game up.
There's Chubb's run on the direct snap, Kirk.
Yeah, this is overset to the right. Big, strong, couple extra bodies there. They outflank him. See the big freshman out front, Andrew Thomas. Put Nick Chubb on the corner there. He's going to find that crease. All those big bodies just pushing those Oklahoma defenders out of the way. But like I said, 55 seconds and 3 timeouts. This is Baker Mayfield territory.
Meanwhile, the tailback tandem for the Dogs, 2 touchdowns each, and Michelle and Chubb have combined for 295 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the kid was very cool when he had to be. Mayfield, 3 timeouts, as he said. Plenty of time to produce some magic and avoid what would be the first ever overtime in the history of the Rose Bowl. Marcellus Sutton for the Sooners watches it sail over his head. So here comes Baker Mayfield, the guy who is built for this. Is there another quarterback in college football right now you'd want in this position other than this guy?
No, this is exactly who you want here. Remember, they got a great kicker, has range from, I think we said, about 50 to 55 yards. If he had to really push when his career long is at 51. Watching him in pregame, he was out there at 50 and 55 yards.
How do the Dogs play this? Does Roquan Smith and Georgia bring pressure? Is that what?
I think Kirby Smart's all about mixing up looks. You don't just do one thing. You're gonna sometimes rush 4 and drop 7 and play zone. Other times you're gonna bring pressure. You're gonna disguise and do different things. Against a guy like Baker Mayfield, you can't just do 1 or 2 things. You've got to mix up your looks.
3 receivers stacked to the right, empty backfield. This is Anderson in motion. They fake it to him. Now sidearm pitch to Brown. And Brown, who just scares you every time you got the football. If you're a Georgia fan, gets a first down across the 35.
And as soon as Brown catches the ball, he jumps back into the inside. You know, there's Georgia defenders there, and he's just trying to get behind those big bodies on a screen. The big tight end Andrews and the right side of the offensive line.
Clock running. Don't spend a timeout. Play action again. A short pitch on the sidelines, incomplete.
Wow, good throw.
DeAndre Baker was in coverage.
Yeah, I don't know if Baker got a hand on that or not, but that ball was thrown really, really well.
So they've got those 3 timeouts. Locked down to 37 seconds. Still need to move the football, Kirk, probably about 35 yards to give Seibert a chance at a long game-winning field goal. Georgia showing pressure, creeping toward the line. It's a running play to Anderson, who breaks free. Rodney Anderson hurdles out across the 45. It'll be 3rd down and 2, and Oklahoma will spend its first timeout. Did it get better than this? We talked about Georgia and Oklahoma never having met on a football field. You put them on this grand stage. You put them in a semifinal with a chance to get to the championship game, and it has been a classic here today.
You talked about how the playoffs in the previous years haven't quite lived up to the billing.
Not the semifinals.
The semifinals, and this one we thought potentially could. We think the next one could be just as good. And so far, man, we've been spoiled by a great game. It's going to go down to the wire. We'll see if Oklahoma gets a shot at a last-second field goal. If not, headed to overtime. First overtime that we've had in the playoffs. So what a game of momentum. By the way, the crowds that have traveled out here for you fans that are fans of these teams should be incredibly proud because they have really impacted this game and helped their teams with that momentum and helped create some momentum.
Dogs fans on the far side trying to make it loud for Mayfield. 3rd and 2. Dogs can get a stop here. They could force a punt.
Remember, Baker's been running some on 3rd down tonight. Sometimes you forget about him as a running threat.
From the pocket, Mayfield loops it downfield. It's incomplete. He overled Anderson out of the backfield. Now it's 4th down, 24 seconds to go.
That is a tough throw on 3rd and 2. A wheel route to your back out of the backfield against Roquan Smith, who's running step for step. Interesting call by the Sooners there.
That's not a high percentage call, was it?
Not at all. Not at all.
As you said it, they get a very good defender on your running back. It's got to be a perfect throw to beat it, and it wasn't.
And we'll see what happens here on this punt. But how about the Georgia defense? We just built up Baker Mayfield and how he steps up in those situations. They did a good job of getting him off the field.
Austin Seibert with no deep man back for Georgia. They had 11 up at the line. He just boots it down there and knocks it out of bounds with 17 seconds to go. But they're going to spot it at the 25. So all of a sudden, Georgia trying to hang on for dear life against Mayfield. Now they got the football back with 17 seconds. Do they get adventurous, or do they play for overtime here?
No, I think you got to play smart. I mean, maybe the first play, maybe you take a little chance, see if you can hit like a 15-yard pass, and depending on what happens on that first play after that, you say, hey, we got some momentum. Let's head to overtime.
And if we go to overtime, of course, the kickoff for the All-State Sugar Bowl, Clemson and Alabama, will start over on ESPN2 at the top of the hour and shift here when this one's finished.
They're just going to kill the clock here.
So, Georgia was down 17 in the first half. They reeled off 24 straight. They took the lead, but a scoop and score by the Sooners' Stephen Parker changed the complexion. Georgia able to drive down and tie the game and then deny Mayfield. And we go to overtime. So the coin toss is coming up. Extra time to decide who's going to Atlanta and the championship game. Back after these messages, you're watching the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. The first ever Rose Bowl overtime in the semifinal game. The important coin toss. The winner of the coin toss will obviously want to go on defense first. Each team gets the possession from the 25-yard line. Captains come out again. There's an eerie, strange feeling in the college overtime. Would you say, Kirk? You put the context of this semifinal game, basically any play can be decided, and the winner goes on to the championship game, and suddenly and heartbreakingly, the loser's season is over. Back to Jeff Heiser.
Overtime procedure are as follows. Each team has one timeout. When I flip the coin, whichever team comes up will have the choice of offense, defense, or side of the field. On the third possession, you'll have to go for two. Okay? Flip the Oklahoma, you won the toss. Defense. Then watch defense. Which way? Okay. Oklahoma will play defense first. Georgia's ball this way.
That coin flipped by Jeff Heiser landed and flipped over one time. And Oklahoma wins the toss. The Dogs offense and young Jake Fromm go to work first.
Think about what these teams have been through throughout the entire year. Not this football season. I'm talking about going back to winter conditioning, and you go through spring ball and summer practices, and you go through the season, and you finally win a championship in your conference, and you're thinking, all right, here we go. You get to the playoff, and you get into a battle like this. It goes back and forth. It's 45-45, and now it's going to come down to extra innings.
Not many of the guys in this field have played an overtime game. The last for either side was in 2015. But Baker Mayfield has. That game in Knoxville was his second start. They were way behind, came back, won it in double overtime on the Volunteers field.
Of course, Oklahoma wins the toss and decides to take defense just to see what happens with Georgia's possession.
Oklahoma's defense shouldn't be worn down. Georgia's run just 58 plays in this game, but they've been explosive. Chubb is the tailback.
Listen, crowding the line against the run.
Chubb tries to bounce it, and he'll be met by Okoronkwo. 1-yard gain.
Yeah, Mike Stoops taking some chances. Gets 8 guys up close. Brings the corner. Gets his safety up there, Stephen Parker. Trying to take away all the gaps. Not give Nick Chubb anywhere to be able to cut back and make a big play. They want to try to get Jake Fromm into those third and obvious passing situation here.
Chubb out, and now Sonny Michel in. Fromm making those adjustments, has plenty of time on the clock. Handoff, and Michel picks his way, but it's going to be a 3rd and 6 for the Dogs.
That's what they wanted. Good job at the point of attack by that defensive front. Now it comes down to a big 3rd down. Fromm, his favorite target again is his buddy Javon Wims, who will be off to his left at the top of the screen.
Covered by a true freshman.
True freshman Norwood against him has been giving him a cushion. He's got a height advantage on him too.
Big cushion, you're right. From the pocket, delivered. Incomplete. It was off the hands of Isaac Nauta, the tight end who has not been targeted all afternoon. And here comes a field goal attempt.
Boy, into the teeth of the defense, not to the outside, but into the middle of this defense. Ball's thrown just behind Nauta, and it goes off of his hands.
Here comes
Boy, they split those linebackers perfectly, just unable to hold on to the ball.
Blankenship, who booted a 55-yarder just before halftime, missed from 48. This from 38 in the lead. Knocks it right through. But Mayfield can win the game and send the Sooners to Atlanta and the championship game now with a touchdown.
Yeah, you can see the frustration on the faces of Chubb and Michelle. College overtime, where both teams get a possession, you always want to go second. Now, if you're Oklahoma, you know that they kicked a field goal. You know at the very least, you need a field goal to send it to the second overtime, but you're holding out hope to be able to be aggressive, get a touchdown in this game, head to Atlanta, and try to get to the national championship game.
Dogs did their job stopping the Sooners' potential game-winning drive at the end of regulation.
Remember, Dimitri Flowers had some opportunities early in the game, is a real threat when they move the ball down inside the red zone. They like to sneak him behind linebackers.
He's to the far right of the formation, close to you. 3 receivers bunched to that side. Anderson is the back. Anderson's got it, cuts back, and is knocked down after a 4-yard gain by John Atkins.
Interesting call here on 1st and 10. You get so caught up in Baker Mayfield and Marquise Brown and all these weapons and speed on the perimeter. Instead, they go back to pounding it, running the football. They're at 232 yards now on the ground, so they've been pretty effective doing that.
Brown in motion. They pop it to him. Marquise Brown trying to get the edge, is strung out and dropped a couple yards short of the first down by Reed.
Yeah, Reed trying to set that edge. Boy, it's one thing to work with the scout team. It's another thing when Brown's in person trying to get around the corner. Reed, who's one of the fastest players on this defense, just gets enough to be able to push him out of bounds and not allow him to get to that first down.
And the Sooners keep alive the potential for a game-winning touchdown. They need 2 here. Handoff. Smallwood. End around, doesn't get there. Roquan Smith rose up, and the Butkus Award winner made a huge play.
We haven't seen Smallwood all night. A more physical receiver, not the fastest receiver. Roquan Smith with perfect technique. How fitting the year that he's had for the game to be down at 3rd and short. For him to make that play and not budge even an inch, he pushes Smallwood back.
Offense was on the field for a long time. You wonder, did Riley think about it? Did he think about going for it? But here comes Seibert. Must make it to force double overtime and must hurry. Now they'll spend a timeout, that one that they have in overtime. Don't want to hurry this field goal attempt. Austin Seibert has been almost automatic in these short-range field goals from his career, but he's been a busy man. We talked about the potential wear and tear. You kick off, you kick field goals, and you punt. It's really a rare guy that can do that in college football and be as busy as he's been. He hasn't punted very well today.
That's where you really, in my opinion, you see so many great kickers on Sunday. The great kickers are the ones that can deal with the consequences and the pressure and what's at stake. They block that out and they go out and take care of business.
Wesley Horkey is the long snapper. He's a senior. Connor McGinnis won the award as the top holder of the year, the Mortel Award. Seibert from 33 to force double overtime. He misses it, and the Dogs go home to play for a championship. Timeout, Georgia. Dogs have blocked a couple of field goals this year down in the red zone. They get a good push. They got one against Auburn. So Seibert, more time to think about it.
Kirby is fired up, going after somebody there. You know, you just brought up how they blocked some field goals. I think if you're going to try to get a push in the middle, try to go up and block it that way, makes sense. I don't know about coming off the edge with so much at stake here. You don't want to accidentally rough the kicker. I think you hope the pressure is maybe too much, or you try to get a push in the middle and get a hand up.
That's what happened against Auburn. Big Daquan Hawkins-Muckle, number 96, got the mush rush, got the hand up. That field goal block was crucial.
And that works, but you want to stay away from diving off the edge and have the risk of maybe getting into that kicker.
Can Seibert do the job that he's done so well his whole career? Visualized 10,000 times. Knocks it coolly through into the net. So a field goal for each offense in the first overtime. We had to double OT. Sooners up first. On to double overtime. Neither offense will define the end zone. Sooners did make a first down, but Seibert from a slight angle at 33 yards. You feel awful for any kicker who misses that, regardless of who you root for.
I'm not rooting for anybody other than a great game, and I just didn't want either one of those kickers to miss that.
Now they're two really likable guys too, on top of it all. So now the Sooners back to work. It was Georgia's choice in the second overtime, and of course they want to go on defense first. So here comes Mayfield back at the 25.
Pretty conservative first series for Baker Mayfield. They have two backs in that backfield now with Sermon and Anderson. I just wonder if they get a little bit more aggressive here trying to get a touchdown.
Anderson, the keeper. You make a good point. Is the strategy different in the top of an overtime inning, if you will, knowing how good Georgia is on the other side?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, especially as you move further along here into the second overtime. Lincoln Riley, you know his personality. I mean, a lot like Bob Stoops. Bob Stoops always had a reputation of being a little bit of a gambler, take a few chances, be aggressive. I think Lincoln Riley's has that same approach.
With that 5-yard carry, Anderson over 200 in this game. Brown in motion. They fake it to him. Mayfield under pressure, has to scramble, flips it downfield, incomplete. Again, he was targeting Andrews, well covered, and Trent Thompson pressured him.
Yeah, Thompson with a really good job of getting in there and forcing him out of the pocket. Oklahoma actually got away with a couple holds that time on the right side of the offensive line. No call, so they catch a break here and avoid the penalty.
After a good start to this game on third down, the Sooners have struggled lately. They are just 7 of 17. One of 9 since halftime. Need 5. And Oklahoma will spend a timeout. The play clock was winding down, so Lincoln Riley will check that little folded piece of paper that's his play sheet and come up with something here, Kirk.
We were kidding him in the meeting about Mike Leach, who he played for, and how small Mike Leach, his play sheet. You know, you got guys like Gary Patterson and others. You know, they got wristbands and the play sheet hooked to their belt all the way down to their knee. And his is a little 8x11 sheet of paper.
Youngest football coach in FBS. He just turned 34 in September. Only been on the job 7 months, taking over for a legend. He's gotten his team here, and now he's got to keep a cool head too and make a smart choice.
Bob Stoops looking on. Imagine what he's going through. He can't be involved in any way as far as coaching or offering tips. You can only imagine what his emotions are like watching his team, his former team. All right, now if I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm trying to find a matchup. Where's an advantage where I can win one-on-one?
Andrews in the slot to the right. Dogs jump off. It's a free play for Mayfield, who flings it to the end zone. Intercepted. The pass is picked off by DeAndre Baker, but the Dogs jumped offside. And Mayfield, I think, knew he had a free play.
He sure did, Chris.
Offside. Defense, number 13. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Not just a penalty that wipes off an interception, but it gives Oklahoma a first down.
Yep. critical play. Oklahoma, and I think Baker, I think he saw that out of the corner of his eye. Then Ledbetter had jumped up at the top, 13. He moves right there. Good job by Wren of snapping the ball while he was already off sides. And now Baker's going to take a chance. And then, like you said, Chris, 3rd and 5. And with that pass interference, they get the first down.
Once again, they bring in Kyler Murray. This is a wrinkle, the backup quarterback, the true speedster, the former Texas A&M Aggie. He's to the right of Mayfield. First down. Flowers split to the left, the H-back. Badette in motion, option. Murray, the quarterback, takes the pitch from the starting quarterback, but the Dogs were ready. Bellamy drove him out right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they told us he's one of the fastest players on the entire roster. You know, he'll be their quarterback more than likely next year, the transfer from Texas A&M.
Clemson and Alabama already underway in New Orleans. That game on ESPN2 at the moment. To shift here after this Rose Bowl's done. Top of the second overtime, 2nd and 10.
Again, here is the matchup that you would expect them to try to go to down here. Andrews at 6'5", 254 is tough to match up with down in the red zone.
They flip it short. Anderson hit behind the line as Roquan Smith makes another huge play.
Well, he had him the entire way out of the backfield. Had him man-to-man, wasn't surprised at all. Baker Mayfield flips it out there, and Rodney Anderson never had a chance against Roquan Smith.
We talked about Smith's frustration early. He wasn't an impact player in the first half of this game. He has upped his game after halftime, especially down the stretch. Now the Sooners need 12. It'll be another field goal attempt. Mayfield has time, flips it short. Brown, a long way to go, slips one tackle, spins, but is stopped at the 10-11 yard line, and it's 4th down.
Much better job in man-to-man by Baker. It's a crossing route. You've got receivers on the left crossing over, receivers on the right. A lot of times it creates that pick or that traffic jam where you get caught up in the clutter. This time Baker's able to avoid that and eventually chase him down.
There's few kickers you'd rather have in this position. You see Seibert's reliability, 27 yards to put the Sooners on top. Deflected, blocked. The Dogs do it again.
I think Lorenzo Carter got in there. He's got such great length. It's 6'6". I think he was able to get the penetration, get up in the air, and get his right hand on the ball. How about that? A senior for the Dogs. See if it's number 7 from the right side of the offense. Watch him get up in the air right there. Full extension. Yes, he gets his hand on that to prevent it from going through.
They left him a gap. Carter took advantage. We mentioned how good Georgia's been at this situation. 3rd time this year they block a field goal in close, and now a field goal wins it for Georgia. Any points win it, and the Dogs would head back to Atlanta for a shot at the championship. From the 25. Make a big play, you're awarded those spiked shoulder pads, and now it's Swift and invading the backfield for the Sooners there. That's a nice play. Emmanuel Beal, the linebacker, dropped him for a loss.
And you're expecting a run here and a conservative approach. They just want to be able to stay in field goal range, probably get the ball as close as they can to the middle, and Emmanuel Beal sensing that, just coming downhill instantly as the ball is snapped.
Even after it was deflected, it fell short.
Just got enough of it. All right, they're going to flip Fromm out. Direct snap here to Michelle.
Chubb scored a touchdown earlier on a direct snap. Now it's Michelle's turn, running all the way. Gets to the edge. Sonny Michel will send the Dogs home to the championship game. Just like that, the Sooners season ends, and the Dogs can dream big about a national championship. It'll be their first since 1980. Sony Michel, 4 touchdowns to offset a crucial fumble. But the final word in the highest scoring Rose Bowl ever and its first overtime ever to Maria Taylor.
All right, Coach. Your third blocked field goal of the season results in your team going to a national championship game. How do you describe the way this game ended?
What a game. What an atmosphere. You know, my heart goes out to the Oklahoma team because these guys played their tail off, and so did ours. Nobody ever quit. Everybody fought hard. So proud of these kids and seniors, man. I mean, they never quit.
Let's talk about those seniors. Lorenzo Carter, he gets the blocked field goal, and then you put it in the hands of a senior running back. I mean, what does it mean? These guys came back for this moment, Coach.
Impressive. Character, integrity, proud of them, man. This is a great university, and these kids called their tail off.
In your second year as the head coach at your alma mater, you're taking them to a national championship. Let that soak in and tell me what it means to you.
Go Dogs. Hey, for you too, girl.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Tom, we go over to you.
Maria, thank you very much. Jake Fromm and Roquan. Let me start with you. You tell me this. Everything's a first for a true freshman. Your first ever Rose Bowl, the first playoff game to go to an overtime. What did you tell your team heading into the second overtime session?
We had to believe. You know, God is good, and He stayed with us. And, man, guys on the team, we just stayed faithful. Roquan, man, everybody kept giving it their all. We kept the main thing. We kept chopping. And I mean, it's just an incredible experience to get to share with my teammates.
This team was down 17 points toward the end of the first half. What was the message and the key adjustment at half?
I mean, we kept believing. We knew we were a four-quarter team. And we were more physical. You know, we were more physical than them. And we just kept chopping. We knew each and every blow we took in the first half was going to pay off for us in the second half. And thank God it did.
Roquan, we didn't call your name a whole lot in the first half. It seemed like you were frustrated. What was the key adjustment defensively?
It was just doing what we do, and like we couldn't get, you know, we was facing a little adversity, but we couldn't let that change our approach and whatnot. So I wasn't really focused on what I could do, but it was more so a team thing, and we just came out the second half, made the right adjustments, even though they still did things, but we got it done.
The chance now to go back to Georgia and play for the national championship. What does it mean to you, Roquan?
It means everything to bring all this back to the university, and like my family, all families, and just team, all we've been through is just amazing, and I can't thank God enough, and I'm just so proud of all of these guys.
Roquan and Jake, congratulations, guys. The Dogs headed to the national title. Chris?
Massive plays as Mayfield is consoled the final game of his brilliant college career. Lorenzo Carter, one senior, made the block. That's him right there. Set up the game-winning touchdown for Sony Michel, his fourth today.
Fourth, and don't forget the fumble that he had. Look at the blocks by Nada. Good block downfield. Look at the quarterback, Jake Fromm, picking up a block. But remember, Michel was the one who fumbled the ball that Oklahoma picked up and scored. How fitting that he's able to put that in the end zone. And, of course, there's the reaction from Baker Mayfield. Will never wear a Sooners jersey again.
Post-game coverage, including the trophy presentation over on ESPN2. Going to shift it now momentarily to the second semifinal, Clemson and Alabama from the All-State Sugar Bowl. An absolute classic in Pasadena this evening. The Dogs headed home. Who are they going to meet? The Tigers or the Crimson Tide? We're about to find out as we send you to New Orleans right now.